Chapter 67. Sun City. The bus arrived at the school gate. The sky was already dark when the bus stopped. Fong Ping heard someone calling his name as soon as he got off. Fong Ping knew who it was from the voice alone. He turned his head and saw Fong Yuan jogging toward him. Her face was full of joy. "Fong Ping, you're finally back." Fong Ping was still a little depressed after the attack in the afternoon. Now that he saw Fong Yuan, he felt much better. He pinched her round face and chuckled. "Why are you here?" Fong Yuan pouted and shook her head. She pushed Fong Ping's hand away and said happily, "I'm here to pick you up." "Fong Ping, you have no idea how famous you are now." The little girl chattered on for a while, her face full of pride. Fong Ping's vitality was 149 calories, number 1 in auspicious Sun City. Adults might not pay attention to such news, but students knew quite a lot. Number 1 high school had also publicized it. After all, Fong Ping's vitality of 149 calories was the highest in the history of Sun City, number 1 high school. As long as Fong Ping did not suck too badly in his cultural classes, he would be able to get into a normal martial arts university, even if he could not get into the big two. Fong Yuan's experimental junior high school was not too far from number 1 high school. Many people in experimental junior high school knew that Round Face's brother had the highest vitality in auspicious Sun City. It was almost certain that he would get into a martial arts university. Their admiration for martial arts university students was deeply ingrained in their bones. As a result, Fong Yuan was also the center of attention these days. The teachers in the school had talked to her, and they were much more enthusiastic than before. Fong Yuan could not stop smiling when she talked about this. She said excitedly, "If anyone calls me Round Face now, I'll ask my brother to come and beat them up. No one dares to call me that anymore." Fong Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. Her threat was too much. "I'm about to become a martial artist. Can I really help you beat up your classmates?" The girl was excited. Fong Ping did not say anything else. He unloaded the gifts he had bought from the bus. Looking at Fong Ping carrying a few bags of various sizes, Fong Yuan's face lit up with joy. Then she complained, "You only know how to waste money." Fong Ping ignored her and greeted the others. As he carried his things home, he said with a smile, "It's not a waste this time. I, your brother, have really struck it rich this time." "You sold autographs?" Fong Ping was speechless. He said impatiently, "Can you stop thinking about autographs all the time? How much is an autograph worth? Can't you set your sights higher? I'm a prospective martial artist, and my vitality isn't any weaker than an average martial artist's. Do I need to rely on selling autographs to survive?" After teasing the girl, Fong Ping chuckled. "There's a place called Scenic Lake Gardens next to your experimental high school. Do you know about it?" "I know. I have a classmate who lives there." "The neighborhood is very beautiful," Fong Yuan said enviously. Lakeview Gardens was an old residential area with dilapidated houses and small spaces. Scenic Lake Gardens was a new residential area. Its appearance alone was 10 times better than Lakeview Gardens. "It's good that you know. Your brother's blood vitality is the best in the city. Auspicious Sun City and Sun City have given me many rewards." "Reward?" Fong Yuan asked curiously, "What reward?" "Sun City rewarded a house in Scenic Lake Gardens." "What?" Fong Yuan was stunned. There was a house as a reward? Fong Yuan had heard that the city would reward the top scorer every year. However, under normal circumstances, even the top scorer would be rewarded with cash and not much. The Gaokao was not over yet, and her brother was already rewarded with a house? Fong Ping saw that she could not close her mouth. He smiled happily and said, "What's wrong? Have you gone silly from happiness? Tomorrow weekend, I'll bring you to see the new house. Scenic Lake Gardens is close to your school. When you move to the new house, you'll be able to sleep in." Fong Ping. Fong Yuan said dumbly, "Are you serious?" "Of course." Fong Ping said teasingly, You didn't believe me when I said my vitality was 149 calories. Now that I've rewarded you with a house, you still don't believe me? Why don't we make a bet? Whoever loses will pinch the other's face 100 times. Fan Yuan was not willing to bet with him, although she still found it hard to believe. She thought that it might be true. At that thought, Fan Yuan said excitedly, Fang Ping, you've really been rewarded with a house. Shall we go and see it now? Is it big? Are there many rooms? Is the living room big? The little girl immediately turned into a million whys and pestered Fang Ping with questions. Fang Ping felt a headache coming on, but he did not bother to answer. This time, he could use the opportunity to tell his parents about the house and give them some money for their living expenses. Huang Bin's money was stolen money, so it was not convenient to tell them. This time was different. Jean Kemming's 2 million was considered a semi-public reward. Tan Jinping knew about this too. If his parents had doubts, Fang Ping could ask Tan Jinping to be his witness. Although Tan Jinping was not trying to curry favor with Fang Ping, he would not refuse such a small request from Fang Ping, especially now. Others might not know, but as the leader of the team in Sun City, Tan Jinping knew that Fang Ping had been attacked. He also knew that Fang Ping had been fighting with an official martial artist for a long time. Before this, Fang Ping's vitality was 149 calories. He was a peak aspiring martial artist. Now that he could fight with a martial artist, it was obvious that he had honed his bones and broken through his limit. Fang Ping could now be seen as a half-step martial artist. As long as there was a chance and a rank for martial artists to protect him, Fang Ping could choose to break through and become a martial artist. With Fang Ping's talent, Tan Jinping felt that he could succeed in one try and become a martial artist on the same level as him. At this time, Tan Jinping would be happy to help Fang Ping play dumb. When he reached home, Fang Mingrong was not home yet. Li Yueying was preparing dinner. Fang Yuan told her about the house as soon as she got home. This time, Li Yueying was also stunned. Sun City rewarded her son with a house just for taking an exam? Very soon, the mother and daughter were the ones who kept asking questions instead of Fang Yuan. When his father came home, the whole family was asking questions. Fang Ping could not remember how many times he had to explain. In the end, he could only say, Director Tan of the Department of Education is in charge. I have his number. Mom, Dad, why don't I call him and you can ask him yourself? Li Yueying rolled her eyes at him. Fang Mingrong laughed dryly. They had been ordinary people their whole lives. They would not dare to call the deputy director of the Department of Education. Not to mention that the other party was a martial artist. Their son said it confidently. Even if they found it unbelievable, they could only choose to believe him. Fang Ping sighed in relief when they stopped asking questions. He said softly, Mom, Dad, don't tell anyone about this. The reward is extra, and the city didn't make it public. If people find out, they'll get jealous. It won't be worth it if the city takes back the house. Fang Mingrong said seriously, That's true. Don't worry. Your mom and I won't tell anyone. Yuan, you should keep your mouth shut too. Fang Yuan was a little gloomy. She mumbled, I was going to tell my classmates. Fang Ping, does that mean we can't move into the new house? Fang Ping said teasingly, Of course we can, but I've thought about it. You can keep your mouth shut. Mom, Dad, and I will move in. You can stay here alone and watch the house. No. Fang Yuan pouted and said, coquettishly, Brother, let me go. I won't tell my classmates, okay? Both Fang Mingrong and his wife were smiling. They ignored Fang Yuan and asked about the details of the house. Fang Ping gave them a brief explanation. When they learned that the house had been renovated and they could move in at any time, they decided to apply for leave the next day to look at the house. If Fang Ping had not just returned, they would have gone to take a look. They could not wait. His parents and Fang Yuan were overjoyed when they saw them discussing the house. Fang Ping coughed dryly and said, Mom, Dad, I'm not done yet. The house was only a reward from Sun City. Auspicious Sun also rewarded me, not with a house, but with cash. Auspicious Sun rewarded you too. Li Yueying was surprised. Fong Mingrong said emotionally, I knew that warriors are different from us in the past, but you're not a warrior yet, and you're already like this. If you become a warrior... Fong Mingrong estimated the house in scenic lake gardens to be worth 700,000 or 800,000 after hearing his son's description. That was more than what they could earn in their entire lives. Now, Auspicious Sun had rewarded them too. This made Fong Mingrong happy and proud, but also disappointed. His son had not graduated yet. He was still a high school student, but he was already more capable than him. As his father, he did not know if he should feel inferior. The couple had forgotten to ask how much the house was worth, but the money grubber Fong Yuan did not. She asked quickly, Brother, how much did Auspicious Sun reward you? Fong Ping glanced at her and said exasperatedly, Now that you're older, you brat, all you care about is money. Brother! Fong Yuan tugged at his arm and said coquettishly, I'm just happy for you. Besides, your money is my money, and my money is your money. At most, I'll use all my savings to buy you guys a meal at KFC tomorrow. You sure know how to calculate. Fong Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. If I eat your KFC, then my money will become your money. What a clever little calculation. Fong Ping did not want to argue with the brat. He coughed softly and said, Auspicious Sun rewarded me with 400,000. I'll keep 100,000 for myself to use when I get to a martial arts university. Leave the rest to Mom. We don't have to be so thrifty in the future. As for Dad, working in the ceramics factory isn't a good job either. It's bad for your health if you work there for too long. I had talked to Chief Tan before, and he said that the Education Bureau was still lacking a guard. There wasn't much work to do, and it was just to register the incoming and outgoing information. He would start work at 8:30 a.m. and get off work at 6 o'clock p.m. He would have 1 day off every week and would be paid 5,000 yuan a month. Dad, if you don't mind, you can go to work in a few days. Fong Ping dared not say too much. If he really said a few million, his parents' hearts might not be able to take it. Moreover, he had to leave some money behind. Martial artists consumed a lot of money. Although he had the system, he still needed wealth. After he was admitted to a martial arts university, Fong Ping wanted to try his hand at starting a business. He could not always hope to meet a sucker every time. As soon as he said this, the people in the room were stunned again. The reward was 400,000 yuan. How could the money come so easily? And to work in the Education Bureau. The Ministry of Education was not a government office. It was one of the most powerful organizations in Sun City. Even if it was just a guard, there would be countless people fighting for the job. If one's family had nothing to do with it, who would go to the Education Bureau to be a guard? His son actually had a relationship with the director of the Education Bureau. Fong Mingrong was even more shocked and in disbelief than when he first found out about the house. He was just an ordinary worker who worked his ass off in the ceramics factory. He could earn more than 3,000 yuan a month with only 2 days off every month. If he became a guard now, he would only have to sit in the house and register his information. He could earn 5,000 yuan a month. The main issue was not the high salary. If he went to the Education Bureau, even if he was just a guard, he would be considered half an official. How could he, Fong Mingrong, be treated like an official? Fong Mingrong could not believe it. Even Li Yueying was shocked. Fong Yuan, on the other hand, did not think as much as her parents. The only thing on the girl's mind was the 400,000 yuan reward. So many snacks! I can watch a movie now, thoughts flooded Fong Yuan's mind. When she looked at Fong Ping again, he was no longer Fong Ping. He was clearly a moving treasure, trove, shining with golden light. Fong Ping had only been gone for 10 days. No one had expected such a change. There was too much good news. His parents could not digest it all at once. Fong Yuan even happily invited Fong Ping to lunch the next day. Fong Ping would spend all of his money, and the two of them would share Fong Ping's money. As for how big the gap between the two of them was, the girl automatically ignored it. That night, Fong Mingrong and his wife did not sleep well. They chatted softly until late at night. Fong Yuan, on the other hand, slept soundly. She had a sweet smile on her face as she slept. No one knew what kind of sweet dreams she was having. As for Fong Ping, after cultivating the methods of honing once, he picked up the fundamental leg techniques and flipped through it. He planned to hone his lower limbs when he reached rank 1. Leg techniques were more suitable for him. However, there were some differences between combat techniques and cultivation methods. The methods of honing did not require him to enter the martial artist realm. He only needed to focus on cultivating a few main meridians. Combat techniques, on the other hand, were much more complicated. They included techniques to exert force. These were not things that could be understood with just books. Without the guidance of an instructor, cultivating it would not be very effective. Fong Ping called Old Wang again that night, but he still could not get through. Fong Ping was a little depressed. Where did this guy go? Or did he change his phone number? Among the people he knew, apart from Wang Jinyang, there was no one else who could give him pointers. He was not familiar with Zhang Yong, and Tan Jinping did not cultivate combat techniques. Did Old Wang find out that my vitality is so high that he's been affected, so he's not picking up the phone? Chapter 68. The next day, May 11th, Sunday. Scenic Lake Gardens. The moment they entered the house, everyone except for Fong Ping was overjoyed and shocked. Upstairs and downstairs, a huge living room, a sunny balcony, and brand new renovations. After living in the old house for decades, they were used to the dark and damp first floor. Now that they had moved into a new house, even if the renovations were average, Fong Mingrong and his wife found it magnificent and luxurious. Fong Yuan was so excited that she almost went crazy. She rolled on the sofa the moment she entered the house. Then she got up and ran upstairs. Fong Mingrong could not hide the smile on his face when he saw his daughter's excitement. He turned to Fong Ping and said, "These furniture, they're all cheap stuff. They came with the renovations." Fong Ping did not mention that he had bought them. He accompanied his parents into the living room and said with a smile, "You can throw them away and get new ones." He knew that he was wasting his breath. He did not think that he would have an excuse to ask his parents to move in so soon. The new furniture was useless to him. As he expected, Li Yueying rebuked him immediately. "They're all new furniture. Why are you throwing them away?" "These are good." As she spoke, Li Yueying looked around downstairs and muttered, "How nice." "The lighting is good and the place is spacious." After mumbling for a while, everyone went upstairs. Fong Yuan had already chosen a room upstairs. When she saw her parents, she said happily, "Fong Ping, I want this room." There were 2 bedrooms, a gym, and a study upstairs. They were not small. The new bedroom was much bigger than the old house, but it was empty at the moment. The last time Fong Ping bought furniture, it was just a simple move. He bought a small sofa bed and placed it in the study. Li Yueying entered the room and scolded her daughter. "What room do you want? We're not going to move into the new house." Fong Yuan was stunned. Her face was full of grievance. Fong Ping was also stunned for a while. Then he smiled and said, "Mom, you're not thinking of saving it for me as a wedding house, are you?" "I want to go to a martial arts university." "I'm not a martial artist yet, and I'm already rewarded with a house. Do you think I'll lack a house after I go to a martial arts university and become a martial artist? No matter how weak the martial artists in Sun City are, they won't live in a house like this. When I graduate, I'll be living in a villa. Besides, it's hard to say if we'll even be able to return to Sun City." Fong Ping knew what his mother was thinking the moment she opened her mouth. It was such a big house, and it was a new house. Of course, it was reserved for his son's wedding. Even now, Li Yueying still had not recovered from the shock. Fong Ping was no longer the mediocre senior high school student, but a martial arts reserve. This time, it was Li Yueying's turn to be stunned. Fong Yuan said coquettishly, "That's right. Fong Ping's going to get into a martial arts university soon. Martial artists are rich. Mom, let's move in, okay? This place is also very close to our school. Her daughter was acting coquettishly, but her son said that he would not lack a house in the future. Li Yueying had no choice but to turn to look at Fong Mingrong. Before this, Fong Mingrong had the same thought as Li Yueying. But now, when Fong Ping spoke, Fong Mingrong realized that Fong Ping was different from him. He hesitated for a moment. Just as he was about to speak, Fong Ping chuckled and said, "Mom, Dad, don't worry. Today is Mother's Day. I didn't prepare a gift for Mom, so I'll give this house to her as a Mother's Day present. Dad, don't be jealous. When it's Father's Day, I'll give you a present too." This child, with a smile on his face, Fong Mingrong no longer hesitated. He looked at his wife and said, "Since Ping Ping has said so, let's just stay here. When we have time, we'll buy some furniture and daily necessities. We'll move in after some time." "Dad, can we move in now?" Fong Yuan turned on her coquettish mode again. All she wanted was to move into the big house now. Fong Ping smiled and said, "Since our family is all here today, we'll buy all the furniture we need later. If we buy everything today, we can move in tomorrow. There's nothing much to move from the old house. Just some clothes will do. How can we be so casual?" Li Yueying hurriedly stopped him. "We have to pick a good day to move in, and we have to inform our relatives to attend the wedding. How can we just move in like that? Also, once we move in, we'll have to tidy up the house and rent it out." Seeing that his mother did not agree, Fong Ping did not try to persuade her. He had already told his parents about the house. They could do whatever they wanted with it. Fong Yuan's expression was one of despair. All she wanted was to move in now, but her parents needed many days to prepare. She was in despair. In the end, the whole family came to a consensus. They would look at the furniture that day and buy everything they needed. When they left the house, Fong Yuan pulled Fong Ping to the back and said expectantly, "Brother, it's Mother's Day today. You said you gave the new house to Mom. You have to give Dad a gift on Father's Day too." "What gift are you going to give me on younger sister's day?" Fong Ping was dumbfounded. Younger sister my ass. What younger sister's day? As if she knew that Fong Ping did not understand. Fong Yuan said seriously, "It's Children's Day. You can also celebrate it as Younger Sister's Day." Fong Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. He was speechless. "Does that mean there's still Older Brother's Day?" "Yes, there is. It's May 4th Youth Day. It's such a pity that you weren't home during the festival. I've prepared a gift for you, but I didn't get to give it to you. Ha ha." Fong Ping rolled his eyes. Naughty brats were so annoying. In the morning, the whole family went to the furniture city. Unlike Fong Ping, who bought things casually, his parents went to shop after shop and asked about the price again and again. They ran up and down the furniture city 7 or 8 times, but they still could not decide which shop to buy, other than his parents, who were dazzled by the sight. Fong Yuan also ran with them seriously. She mainly looked at the furniture in her room and did not find it tiring at all. However, Fong Ping could already hear his parents making arrangements in low voices. There are 2 bedrooms upstairs, one for Fong Ping and another for them. As for Fong Yuan, she would stay in the small bedroom downstairs. Fong Ping was secretly amused when he heard this. He did not tell Fong Yuan, who was jumping with joy. He really wanted to know what the girl's expression would be like when she was told that she would stay in the small bedroom after choosing the furniture. Of course, Fong Ping did not care which room he stayed in. After he entered university, he would not spend too much time at home. The morning passed by quickly. During lunch, Li Yueying prepared to go home and cook. In the end, Fong Yuan volunteered to treat Li Yueying to a meal as a Mother's Day gift. Fong Ping could not help but admire this girl. They had agreed yesterday that she would treat him to a meal, but now she was treating it as a Mother's Day gift. It was only because Father's Day was not here yet. Otherwise, this girl's meal could be treated as a few gifts. After lunch, Fong Yuan's little vault was almost emptied. After paying the bill, the girl looked at Fang Ping pitifully. She looked as if she was going to depend on him from now on. Fang Ping wanted to pinch her cheeks to make them rounder. His parents still had to look at the furniture in the afternoon, so Fang Ping did not accompany them. He went to the bank and applied for another card, transferring 300,000 to it. He still had a little more than 2 million left in his card. Fang Ping planned to keep the money for his future business. His previous source of funds had been rootless duckweed. It was impossible for fools like Huang Bin and Jean Kemming to give him money every single time. Fang Ping might not even be able to use his savings until he reached rank 2. Martial artists spent a lot of money. Fang Ping had experienced this deeply. People like Wang Jinyang had no choice but to accept missions to earn money to buy cultivation resources for themselves. Although Fang Ping had wealth to replace it, he had to earn it by earning money. While Fang Ping and his family were decorating their new house, Sichuan, Wang Jinyang, whom Fang Ping had been talking about for days, dragged his exhausted body to a military base in Sichuan. Wang Jinyang was no longer as calm and collected as he usually was. His hair was a mess, his clothes torn, and his body stained with dried blood. There were other people beside him. The rank 5 Zhang Qingnan had led the team from NMAU that day. NMAU had 16 instructors and 11 students. Including Zhang Qingnan, there were 28 people in total. At this moment, there were less than 20 people scattered around, either sitting or standing. The clean and gentle Zhang Qingnan was now covered in dirt, his right hand hanging limply by his side. His eyes were bloodshot as he looked around. Zhang Qingnan said hoarsely, "Our mission is over. Tonight, the 9 Grandmasters will launch the final attack and completely suppress the strange movements at the Sichuan entrance. Students, you can go back and have a good rest. Instructor Liu, you'll lead the team back to school later. Qingnan, you're not going back?" Instructor Liu, who had been called, asked hurriedly. Zhang Qingnan shook his head slightly and said in a low voice, "After the final attack tonight, the catacombs entrance will be forcefully closed. I want to bring Shen Quan back." "Instructor," Wang Jinyang's voice was hoarse, his eyes red. "The president doesn't want you to put yourself in danger and enter the catacombs again. I know you're blaming yourself. But this isn't your responsibility. We were too careless and didn't listen to your instructions. We went in too deep and caused the president to be trapped in the catacombs. However, the catacombs entrance is extremely dangerous now. You're not a grandmaster. If you go in again," Zhang Qingnan said in a low voice, "say no more. I'm the person in charge of NMAU's mission this time. It's my responsibility for not taking care of all of you. There were 28 of us when we came. Now that we're leaving, even if we have to sacrifice our lives, I'll take everyone with me." "Instructor." Qingnan, Zhang Qingnan's expression turned serious. He said softly, "Instructor Liu, you'll lead the team back to school now. Once I find Shen Quan, I'll go back immediately." "Instructor Wang and the others," Zhang Qingnan gritted his teeth and said in a mournful voice, "make arrangements for their funeral. Apologize to their families on my behalf." Instructor Liu clenched his fists and looked at Zhang Qingnan deeply. Then he said in a low voice, "Let's go." "Instructor, go. Go back. Things have gone beyond our capabilities. Staying here won't help. Send Instructor Wang and the others home." Instructor Liu hesitated no more. He turned and got into the car. Seeing that the others were still standing, he shouted, "Get in! Do you want to stay here and destroy the Martial Arts University's foundation? When we're strong enough, we'll come back for revenge. If we become grandmasters and reopen this door, we'll pay with blood. It's better than dying now." Wang Jinyang gritted his teeth, his body trembling. After a while, he said sternly, "Go." This was no longer a place they could stay. Only when they broke through to Grandmaster could they come back for revenge. Following Wang Jinyang's steps, the members of the Martial Arts Society followed. Wang Jinyang turned to look at Zhang Qingnan and said loudly, Instructor, I'll wait for you at school. If you don't come back, I'll marry your daughter. You little brat, Nini is only 10. Do you think I won't break your legs? Zhang Qingnan scolded him with a smile and waved his left hand. Let's go. When I find Xinquan, we'll go back to school together. Chapter 69. May 12th. In the wee hours of the morning, Sichuan earthquake. That night, Fang Ping did not notice anything unusual. It was only when he went to school at dawn that he heard the news from his classmates' discussions. Due to the Grandmaster's early warning, the masses evacuated in time. There were not many casualties among the masses. Only a small number of people who could not bear to leave their homes were affected. Although there were not many casualties, property damage was heavy. When Fang Ping heard that there were not many casualties and that the area affected was not as extensive as in his past life, he breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the two worlds were indeed different. Although there were many similarities, most of them were not. It could not be copied from the other world. As expected, the earthquake this time was the same as before. When the reporters rushed to the site, there were already Grandmaster powerhouses guarding the area, rescuing the people who stayed behind. The army rushed to the disaster area and began to clean up the collapsed buildings, preparing for post-disaster reconstruction. With Grandmasters guarding the area and the army providing disaster relief, the people were at peace. Even though the affected areas were severely damaged, the people who suffered from the disaster were optimistic and enthusiastic about the post-disaster reconstruction work. After the earthquake, there were some rumors spreading all over the country. Statements like "the devil has descended" were not uncommon. However, the government took strict measures to deal with these rumors. Other than some influence in some areas, it did not cause unrest among the people. Ordinary people who were used to a peaceful life and whose lives were getting better, most of them scoffed at these rumors. Although most people did not feel anything out of the ordinary, including the earthquake, because of the timely rescue, there were not many people who talked about it. However, Fang Ping faintly sensed something different. After the earthquake, the atmosphere in Sun City seemed to be much more tense than before. Police could often be seen patrolling the streets and alleys much more frequently than before. There were not many martial artists in Sun City. Fang Ping even met a martial artist he did not know at the school gate. It was not until May 15th, when the Nanjiang governor returned to Nanjiang after the exchange with Sichuan ended, that the tense atmosphere gradually dissipated. The next time Fang Ping contacted Wang Jinyang was on May 17th. The call was from Wang Jinyang. Fang Ping had not been able to contact old Wang before, so he sent him a text and did not call again. Wang Jinyang sounded tired on the phone. After picking up the call, Wang Jinyang explained briefly, "I've been doing missions outside for the past few days, so it's not convenient to bring my phone with me." After explaining why he did not receive any calls, Wang Jinyang asked, "You said in your text that you want to cultivate combat techniques." Scenic Lake Gardens. Fang Ping avoided Fang Yuan, who was happily decorating the room. He walked to the window and said, "Yeah, didn't Brother Wang say that actual combat is the priority? That's why I want to cultivate combat techniques, but I have no one to guide me." Wang Jinyang frowned slightly and said, "Of course you have to cultivate combat techniques." "Senior," said Wang Jinyang Ping, "as an aspiring martial artist, I don't recommend that you practice combat techniques now, lest you delay your breakthrough to a martial artist. It's not too late to cultivate combat techniques after I become a martial artist and enter a martial arts university." When Fang Ping heard this, he knew that he probably did not know the results of his physical assessment. After some thought, Fang Ping replied, "Brother Wang, during the physical assessment, my vitality had reached 149 calories. 2 days ago, I has broken, and of Hua completed of. I have of. Wang begin. Of Wang of. I Wang of the of Wang of Ping. Wang Jinyang was impatient. He had too many things to deal with. Jiang Qingnan had not returned yet, which worried him. The president was trapped in the catacombs. Although he was not the president of the Martial Arts Society yet, he was already the acting president to deal with the society's affairs. He had seen Fang Ping's text before. Compared to other things, Fang Ping's was a small matter. Moreover, this guy was too ambitious. He was thinking of cultivating combat techniques now. That was why he called Fang Ping back today, when he was almost done with everything else. He said a few words patiently, hoping to dispel Fang Ping's idea. Wang Jinyang was stunned when he heard that he had completed of. He asked incredulously, "Did you say you've completed of bone honing?" How long had it been since he met Fang Ping? At the beginning of April, he had met Fang Ping for the first time. At the train station, Fang Ping's vitality was not more than 120 calories. Even when he took a pill by mistake, it was only around 120 calories. Only a little more than a month had passed. In a little more than a month, Fang Ping told himself that he had broken through the limit of his vitality and completed of the bone honing. He was ready to cultivate combat techniques. Wang Jinyang thought of himself as someone who had seen the world. It was not that he had not seen geniuses. He was one. When he first entered martial arts university, his vitality was not high. It was around 120 calories, similar to Fang Ping after he took a pill by mistake. From 120 calories to 150 calories, it took Wang Jinyang 3 months, even with all the resources and opportunities. Just this speed alone caused countless people to be shocked, and they felt that they were far inferior to him. He had taken a long time to break through to rank 1. Wang Jinyang had only broken through to rank 1 when the first semester of his freshman year was about to end. The real improvement came after rank 1. Breaking through rank 2 from rank 1 and rank 3 from rank 2, Wang Jinyang had set the record for the fastest breakthrough in Nanjiang Martial Arts University. The cultivation of an aspiring martial artist's vitality was actually a skill. It could not be rushed or sped up. It was different from bone honing. As long as you had enough resources and a strong enough vitality, the speed of bone honing could be increased. As for the improvement of vitality, due to the limitations of the body, even if there were enough resources, it had to be done slowly to avoid harming the body. Now, Fang Ping was telling him that he had completed the cultivation of vitality. Fang Ping heard the surprise in his voice and felt proud. He smiled quickly. "I just finished. It's all thanks to you, Brother Wang. If you hadn't given me the cultivation method and the pill last time," Wang Jinyang interrupted him. "Don't mention that. So, you've really broken through your vitality limit and honed your bones?" "Yes. Now that your vitality has reached 150 calories and you've completed your bone honing, you can look for an opportunity to break through to martial artist. Of course, the risk of completing an inhuman transformation for the first time is not small. If you can wait, then wait until you've entered martial arts university before breaking through. If you want to become a martial artist now, it's not impossible. For people like us, there are risks, but it's not as big as you think. Anyway, you're brave and not afraid of death. It's not impossible for you to break through on your own." Fang Ping's expression darkened. What did he mean by that? What did he mean by "I'm brave and not afraid of death"? Wang Jinyang did not care what he was thinking. He said quickly, "But now you're thinking about combat techniques instead of breaking through to martial artist. I think you've read what I said in the book. 150 calories is the limit for normal people, but it's not the limit we're after. At the aspiring martial artist stage, the higher your vitality is, the more helpful it will be for you in the future. Why can I complete the honing of my limbs so quickly? It's because my basic vitality is high. When I was an aspiring martial artist, I completed the twice honing in order to increase my vitality and body strength. Twice honing? Yes. Most aspiring martial artists can only do it once, and then they can't continue anymore. I completed the twice honing, and it was a full body honing. That's why my speed of honing my limbs is faster than others. Plus, my vitality is stronger than theirs, so I broke through faster too. Not only my limbs, but I'm also faster than others in honing my torso bones at rank 3. Are there any conditions for twice honing? I feel like my bone honing speed is already extremely slow. Take pills. Bone honing pills. Wang Jinyang continued. Bone honing pills can speed up your bone honing speed. Also, if you have money on hand, you can buy some body strengthening elixir. Bathing in it can increase your body strength. Bone honing pills, body strengthening elixir, and vitality pills are used to hone your bones, strengthen your body, and replenish your vitality, respectively. If you work together, you'll be able to increase your vitality above 150 calories faster. When you've met all the requirements, you'll naturally go through the twice honing process. Fang Ping asked hurriedly, "Where can I buy body strengthening elixir?" Also, Brother Wang, what's the approximate vitality of a twice-honed person? Body strengthening elixir can't be bought in Sun City because not many people use it. Although body strengthening elixir could increase one's body strength, it was not that the average aspiring martial artist's body strength could not keep up, but their vitality could not. Normal daily training was enough to support the increase in their vitality. Those who really use it are usually those who want to nurture a higher vitality. These people have increased their vitality to the limit and their body strength to the limit as well. At this time, they can only use body strengthening elixir to increase their body strength and adapt to a higher vitality. After saying that, Wang Jinyang thought for a while and said, "How about this? I'll exchange some from the school and send it to you, but you'll have to pay for it. It's not cheap. I've been spending a lot of money on cultivation lately." Old Wang was a little embarrassed when he said this. Last time, he felt that he owed Fang Ping a favor. If it were any other time, he would have given it away. Now, however, he was really out of money. He had just broken through to rank 3 not long ago. He had just entered rank 3, and he had used up all his resources to buy some pills. He had received quite a lot of rewards from this mission, but he still had to keep some resources in reserve, not to mention that he had to cultivate. Zhang Qingnan had not returned yet. Martial arts universities were different from the sects of the past, and there was no teacher who belonged to a specific person. Zhang Qingnan was Wang Jinyang's cultivation instructor. His methods of honing, pole standing, and combat techniques were all taught by Zhang Qingnan. Others aside, he had to take good care of Zhang Qingnan. That was why, even though Wang Jinyang was a little embarrassed to talk about money now, he still had to make it clear to Fang Ping. Fang Ping did not think too much about it. His relationship with Wang Jinyang stemmed from a deal. Wang Jinyang's constant guidance on cultivation had already exceeded his expectations. Upon hearing this, Fang Ping said immediately, "Then I'll have to trouble you, Brother Wang. How much would it cost to buy the body-strengthening elixir to satisfy my cultivation needs? It's not too expensive. After all, not many people use it. It's cheaper if I exchange it from the school. I'll buy 3 bottles for you first. You can pay me $500,000. Okay, I'll transfer the money to you later." Fang Ping was straightforward. Increasing his vitality was not a problem. What troubled Fang Ping was the strength of his body and bones. Bones could be honed faster with vitality. However, the strength of his body could only be slowly nurtured by vitality and increased through training. As he spoke, Fang Ping thought of the previous topic and asked again, "Brother Wang, what's the level of vitality needed to start twice honing?" 180 calories. Of course, this is only my experience. I'm not sure about others. Cultivation isn't the same. It varies from person to person. You'll know when you reach that point. Wang Jinyang did not elaborate further. In the end, he said, regarding the cultivation of combat techniques, it's not something that can be explained in a few words. How about this? I'll send you some combat technique cultivation videos, including the ones taught by martial arts university instructors, as well as some of my personal opinions. After saying that, Wang Jinyang reminded him, other things like the methods of honing and pole standing aren't secrets, but remember not to spread these combat technique cultivation videos. What are combat techniques? To put it bluntly, it's the art of killing. A high vitality and a high rank do not necessarily have destructive power. However, when combat techniques are cultivated to a certain level, they will definitely have powerful destructive power. This is not to be spread. Now that your vitality and bone honing have reached a certain level, it's inevitable that you'll be admitted into a martial arts university. That's why I made an exception and taught you in advance. I know, Brother Wang. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Okay, that's it then. Wang Jinyang did not ask how Fang Ping's vitality had increased so quickly. Everyone had their own opportunities. He, Wang Jinyang, had achieved 3 ranks in a year. In the eyes of outsiders, he was also a monster. Fang Ping's rapid vitality increase might have been due to other benefits, or perhaps he was really a genius. There was no need to ask about these things. Wang Jinyang did not ask about Fang Ping's secrets, and Fang Ping did not ask about them either. For example, what mission did Wang Jinyang carry out this time? Or how high had his vitality reached when he was an aspiring martial artist? At the very least, it was at 180 calories. According to Tan Jinping, when they had just become martial artists, their vitality was only at 170 to 180 calories. In other words, when Wang Jinyang was an aspiring martial artist, his vitality was no lower than when they had become martial artists. Fang Ping found it hard to imagine how Wang Jinyang could increase his vitality to more than 180 calories in such a short time without the help of the system. The higher one's vitality, the harder it was to increase. Fang Ping knew this very well. On the 3rd of May, Fang Ping's vitality reached 152 calories. With the help of the system's cheat, Fang Ping's vitality had only reached 160 calories after half a month. After half a month, Fang Ping's vitality and mentality had improved significantly. Wealth. For 650000 vitality, 160 cal mentality, 179 hertz. Chapter 70. 2 days later, Fang Ping received the body-strengthening elixir and the instructional disc from Wang Jinyang. This time, it was not as casual as the last time. The delivery staff checked Fang Ping's identity thoroughly, including his ID and phone number. After that, he carefully handed the package to Fang Ping. There were 3 bottles of body-strengthening elixir. The bottles were made of transparent, man-made crystal, and each bottle was about 100 milliliters. There was a detailed instruction manual attached. In reality, it was just a few words. When bathing, just pour it into water with the water ratio. Of course, it could not be used while bathing. It could be applied externally as well, but it was difficult to apply it evenly on the entire body. Bathing was more suitable. Rather than a liquid, it was more like a glue. 1 bottle could be used 10 times. There was no time limit. If he felt that his body could not keep up with his vitality, he could use it. Fang Ping did not pay much attention to the body-strengthening elixir. Right now, Fang Ping was still interested in the combat techniques, cultivation instructions. 2 days ago, Wang Jinyang said he wanted to send the discs. Fang Ping bought a computer for this purpose. Scenic Lake Gardens. These few days, Fang Ping and Fang Yuan had already moved into the new house before his parents officially moved in. The siblings only went home for dinner, and they slept here at night. Li Yueying came to clean the place in the afternoon when she was free. She had not officially moved in yet. Li Yueying could not do anything about her son and daughter moving in before they moved in. Fang Ping said that there were fitness equipment in the new house. He wanted to cultivate here. Her daughter said that she was afraid of being alone when Fang Ping was not home. She moved in with Fang Ping and took care of her brother. Fang Ping's words were believable. Fang Yuan said that she would take care of Fang Ping. Anyway, neither Li Yueying nor Fang Ping felt it. In the study upstairs, he inserted the disc and turned on the player. Soon, A few video programs appeared on the screen. Basic punching technique, cultivation guidance, video basic leg technique, cultivation guidance video. Saber techniques, specialization staff techniques, specialization, an overview of personal cultivation difficulties. There are more than 10 video programs in total. Other than the videos, there was also a handwritten note from Wang Jinyang. Fist and leg techniques can be cultivated. No guidance from a real person. Do not touch cold weapons. Just observe Wang Jinyang. If he cultivated fist and leg techniques, even if they were ineffective, it would be difficult to hurt himself. However, if he was not careful with a cold weapon, he could easily hurt himself. Fang Ping understood this principle. Moreover, he did not have the means to do so at the moment. Professional cold weapons were difficult to buy in Sun City, and it would be difficult for him to put them to use if he cultivated indoors. The first thing Fang Ping opened was the cultivation video for basic leg techniques. Clicking on the video, a man in his 30s or 40s with a gentle appearance appeared on the screen. The location should be similar to a training room. The man had a gentle expression on his face. He was wearing a tight-fitting training suit, which made his limbs look slender. At the beginning of the video, the man said in a gentle voice, "The cultivation of leg techniques must first be steady." If he couldn't stand steadily, he would fall with a push and retreat with a kick. His leg technique was just for show. Only by standing firm could he run fast, kick accurately, and hit hard. If one's pole standing is not stable, no matter how good one's leg technique is, it can only be used as a performance routine. The man enunciated his words clearly. He did not instruct Zhang Xian on how to practice it right from the start. Instead, he explained the basics of the leg technique in detail. The stable stance of pole standing was the foundation of many combat techniques. Stable stance did not just mean what it said. Being able to achieve a stable stance also meant that one's body's coordination could be well controlled. It was not to the extent that one's kick would miss and instead cause one's fall. Martial arts combat techniques were different from traditional martial arts routines. Martial arts routines focused on performance and aesthetics. Combat techniques, on the other hand, focused on explosive force and lethality. Gathering strength, explosive force, and attacking vital points, these were the core contents of various combat techniques. The man in the video explained the profound in simple terms. Fang Ping had read the cultivation manual before. Now that he was listening, many of the areas that he did not understand before were easily resolved. He felt that he had gained a lot. As the man spoke, he demonstrated some simple movements, then slowly broke them down and explained them. The more Fang Ping listened, the more he felt that the man who filmed the video was very good. At least, the explanation of basic combat techniques was something that even a beginner like Fang Ping could understand. According to Wang Jinyang, this video came from one of Nanjiang Martial Arts University's instructors. The instructors in martial arts universities all had some skill. Fang Ping had stared at the video for more than an hour without realizing it. At the end of the video, Fang Ping saw for the first time that the man connected the separated movements. He took a step forward with his left foot and kicked the sandbag in front of him with his right leg. Before Fang Ping could react, the sandbag that was suspended in the air exploded with a bang. Iron sand splattered from the hole. Gathering strength and explosive force need to be practiced diligently and mastered by oneself. Martial artists have abundant vitality, far better than ordinary people. However, if you don't know how to gather strength and not explosive force, you'll only be slightly healthier than ordinary people. You won't be able to fight. The signs of success in cultivating basic leg techniques are very obvious. As the saying goes, beating someone up is like hanging a painting. Sending someone flying with a kick is not what we martial artists pursue. With success in leg techniques, every move and stance is focused on one point. This is what many students call explosive force. When an enemy is pushed back or sent flying, the force will be diverted midway. When 100% of the force is used on the enemy, only 50% of the force will be used. Everyone can see that when I kicked the sandbag, it exploded the moment I hit it. If it were a human body, it would be the same. When you're kicked, the force will be at its maximum and explode immediately. Fong Ping did not pay attention to it before, but now he quickly rewound the video. As expected, the moment the man kicked the sandbag, the point of contact between the sandbag and his right leg exploded. The sandbag did not sway too much. If the sandbag was replaced with a human chest, it would mean that if someone was kicked, they would not be sent flying. Instead, their chest would explode on the spot. Gathering strength. Explosive force. Fong Ping mumbled. He frowned slightly and said, "And sticking. When you're exerting force, stick to your opponent and not give them a chance to retreat and divert the force." As he spoke, Fong Ping recalled the content of the video. He stood up and moved his legs slowly. After a while, Fong Ping staggered and shook his head. If you use too much force, your body won't be stable enough. If you miss, you'll injure yourself and give your opponent the chance. He then thought back to his fight with the woman from before. Saying it was a fight was an exaggeration. In reality, the two of them were fighting on the streets, punching and kicking randomly. Fong Ping did not know any techniques for gathering strength and explosive force, and neither did the woman. Although the woman was a rank 1 martial artist, Fong Ping could guarantee that she had either never learned combat techniques or was a dabbler. If it was the man in the video who was also rank 1, Fong Ping had no doubt that he could break his bones with just a punch or a kick. Martial artists are different from each other. If I learned how to use leg techniques, a peak rank 1 vitality martial artist like Tan Jinping would probably be beaten up. At this moment, Fong Ping had a clearer understanding of what Zhang Yong meant by different. Martial artists from martial arts universities, martial artists from the military, casual martial artists, the three of them were very different. Fong Ping had seen martial artists from the military before. Zhang Yong was one of them. He killed the woman with a light punch. She did not even have time to react. Although it had something to do with Zhang Yong being rank 2, when he thought about it carefully, his punch was fast, accurate, and ruthless. Even if the woman was also rank 2, she might not have had the chance to react. Over at the martial arts universities, the man in the video's kick was also very powerful. If the sandbag had exploded, the effect would have been similar if it had been a person. The woman was probably a casual martial artist. Her combat strength was terrible. Even Fong Ping, a hothead who did not know any martial arts, could fight with her for so long. This showed how strong she was. As for Tan Jinping, although Fong Ping did not see him fight, he could guess a little. As he thought about this, Fong Ping continued watching the video. This time he adjusted his posture as he watched, concentrating his vitality for an outburst. The rich vitality force that was originally all over his body was now concentrated in his legs, and the effect was very obvious. Fong Ping felt that his legs were much heavier. When he outburst, the power was also much stronger. 2 hours later, just as Fong Ping was about to start all over again, excitedly, Fong Yuan shoved the door open with force. The little girl glanced around the room and said angrily, "Fong Ping, look at what you've done!" Fong Ping's mind was much clearer now, and he finally had time to look around the room. He had been watching the video in the study earlier. In just a short while, the study had become a mess. He had kicked the bookcase he had just bought. Cracks had appeared on the side, and there were some broken wood shavings on the floor. The sofa bed he had bought a few days ago was also dented in the middle, probably because the support frame had been broken. Fong Ping was a little embarrassed. He had not noticed this earlier. Fong Yuan caught him in the act. He coughed dryly and said, "The quality of the furniture is a little bad. I said I wanted to buy something better, but Mom and Dad insisted on buying cheap stuff like this." "Forget it. I'll go pick a better set in 2 days." Fong Yuan rolled her eyes. She was speechless. "Can't you get a refund if the quality is bad?" "You broke it just because the quality is bad. If Mom finds out, she'll scold you." The little girl was actually a little distressed. It was a new house and new furniture, but her brother did not know how to cherish them. She did not even dare to think about living in a house like this in the past. The little girl had been extra careful these few days, wiping the dust off the floor with a cloth. Now that she saw Fong Ping destroying the new house, she could only blame herself for being weak. Otherwise, she would have beaten Fong Ping up a long time ago. All right. I forgot. Next time, go to the gym. The space in the house is still too small. It was his first time entering a new house, and he thought it was quite big. However, it had only been a few days. Fong Ping felt that the house was still too small. He had only been practicing his punches and kicks. If he were to wield a weapon, he would not be able to use it in the gym. Fong Yuan was a little stunned when she heard Fong Ping say that the house was too small. The little girl felt like she had come to heaven after moving in. There were 2 floors above and 1 below, and the place was extremely spacious. She had shown off the big house to a few of her friends, and everyone was envious. Her own brother, on the other hand, actually thought that the house was too small. Fong Yuan felt that she did not understand Fong Ping anymore. Ever since Fong Ping decided to take the martial sciences exams, he seemed to have changed completely. Just as she thought about how Fong Ping had changed, Fong Yuan felt her cheeks being pinched by Fong Ping again. Fong Yuan rolled her eyes hard. She didn't change her head at all. Chapter 71. After joking around with Fong Yuan for a while, it was getting late. Fong Ping was drenched in sweat after trying out his combat techniques. He was about to take a shower when he suddenly thought of the body-strengthening elixir. After cultivating, his whole body would be relaxed. It was the perfect time to use the body-strengthening elixir. At that thought, Fong Ping picked up a bottle of body-strengthening elixir and headed for the bathroom. Fong Yuan could not help muttering when she saw him bringing a bottle of crystal-colored stuff into the bathroom. Fong Ping was showing off more than he used to. In the past, Fong Ping had never used makeup or body wash. Now that she wanted to take a bath, she even specially bought new toiletries. Just by looking at the packaging, one could tell that it was not cheap. Fong Ping fiddled with the crystal bottle in his hand as he entered the bathroom. Wang Jinyang had charged him 500,000 yuan for the 3 bottles. Fong Ping did not understand the prices of goods, nor did he know how much Wang Jinyang had spent on them. However, Fong Ping knew one thing. Old Wang did not cheat him. Not only did he not cheat him, he even gave him a friendship discount. Sometimes, Fong Ping felt that he could be an appraiser himself. Before this, Fong Ping's interface data was wealth, 4606,000 vitality, 162 cal mentality, 180 hertz. At this moment, the data changed wealth, for 706,000 vitality, 155 calories, 162 calories, mentality, 176 hertz, 180 hertz. His wealth had increased by 100,000. According to Fong Ping's understanding of the system, his purchase of the body-strengthening elixir had earned him a profit of 100,000. He spent 500,000 yuan on the 3 bottles of body-strengthening potion, while the system estimated it to be 600,000 yuan. In the past, elixirs were generally valued at 2/3 of the market price. The market price of 3 bottles of body-strengthening potion would probably reach 900,000 yuan, or 300,000 yuan per bottle. Wang Jinyang only charged him 500,000, which was even lower than the system's estimate. Looking at the changes in the data, Fong Ping chuckled. As expected, the difference will be made up. Previously, he had thought of reselling medicinal pills, but he never had the chance to do so. This time, Fong Ping finally understood that the system would compensate for the difference in price. Moreover, it would only compensate for the difference in price. There would be no deduction of wealth. In other words, if he made a loss in business, he would only lose money, not wealth. However, once he earned it, he would earn both money and wealth points. Selling pills was a good way to earn money. If Wang Jinyang had the connections, he could buy more. However, Fong Ping knew that things were not that simple. Wang Jinyang had exchanged the body-strengthening elixir from the university. Even if Fang Ping did not know the specifics, he could guess that there was a price to pay. For example, everyone had a fixed quota, or they needed to consume something else, such as points. Otherwise, the martial arts university students might as well just go and resell pills. The school would not be so stupid. Unless I need it myself, I won't bother Wang Jinyang. Fang Ping muttered in his heart. Old Wang had helped him a lot recently, from guiding him in his cultivation to helping him by medicine now. Because of Huang Bin, the little bit of affection he had accumulated had long since been used up. If Wang Jinyang continued to help him, Fang Ping would owe old Wang a favor. Had it been any other time, Fang Ping would not have bothered to trouble Wang Jinyang so shamelessly. However, Fang Ping was too unfamiliar with martial arts and could not find anyone else to help him. At this moment, he could only ask old Wang for help. An hour later, Fang Ping walked out of the bathroom. Outside the door, Fang Yuan had just finished tidying up the study. She could not help muttering, "Fang Ping, you're getting more and more narcissistic." It was fine if he bought his own cosmetics, but it took him an hour to take a shower. You used to take care of it in 10 minutes. As she spoke, the little girl could not help but pinch Fang Ping's arm. She was speechless. It looks a little smoother. Fang Ping, are you going to start taking care of your skin? Fang Ping was speechless. He laughed. What are you talking about? Can't you see that I'm cultivating? That wasn't cosmetics just now. It's medicine for cultivation. Fang Yuan gave him a look that said, "Do you think I'm so gullible?" She did not know who used medicine to cultivate in the shower. Fang Ping ignored her and stared at the panel for a while. Wealth. For 706,000 vitality. 156 calories, 163 calories. Mentality. 177 hertz, 180 hertz. After using the body-strengthening elixir, Fang Ping could not feel his body's toughness increase after his skin had absorbed and digested it. After all, Fang Ping still could not control his body down to the smallest detail with such a small increase. However, his vitality limit had increased by 1 calorie, which proved that the body-strengthening elixir was quite effective. After looking at it for a while, Fang Ping started adding vitality and mentality. Soon, the data changed again. Wealth. For 700,000 vitality. 162 calories, 163 calories. Mentality. 177 hertz, 180 hertz. Fang Ping was getting more and more familiar with the use of the system. The human body produced vitality all the time, and his mentality could recover slowly when he rested. If he went to sleep now, his vitality and mentality should be restored to their peak when he woke up the next morning. If that was the case, Fang Ping would not waste his wealth to maximize it. It would not be good if he maximized it. If he maintained his peak at all times, Fang Ping would not be able to sleep, and his vitality would be frighteningly high. In the following days, Fang Ping revised for cultural studies in the day. At night, he cultivated pole standing, the methods of honing and combat techniques. Although his mentality of more than 180 hertz did not increase Fang Ping's combat strength, it made his mind more agile, his memory faster, and his comprehension more powerful. Fang Ping had taken cultural studies before. In his past life, his results in cultural studies were not bad either. Although many years had passed, revising was much easier than when he first started. With the support of his exuberant mentality, Fang Ping's results in a mock exam in class were quite good at the end of May. Out of a total of 750 points, Fang Ping scored 610 points. Last year, the national benchmark was 593 points. The mock exam's difficulty was about the same as last year's Gaokao. Fang Ping scored 610 points, which meant that he had exceeded the benchmark by almost 20 points. With this kind of result, he could get into a good university, even if he only applied to a liberal arts university. If he took the martial sciences exam, if his vitality barely met the admission requirements, Fong Ping would be able to get into a martial arts university. Combined with his test result of 149 calories, he should have no problem getting into the big two. When the mock exam results were announced, some people were happy while others were sad. Yang Jian, who was sitting in the front row, had a sour expression on his face. He looked at Fong Ping with resentment. He scored 580 points in the mock exam, which was not bad at all. However, according to the standard, he did not even reach the benchmark, and his vitality was only 116 calories during the vitality test. Under these circumstances, the chances of being admitted were slim. Yang Jian was resentful, but Chen Fan, who was sitting next to him, was not. Ever since Fong Ping applied for martial sciences and achieved good results in the physical assessment and practical test, Chen Fan had been working even harder. This time, Chen Fan did well too. He scored 625 points, slightly higher than Fong Ping. In the past, Chen Fan would have been satisfied. Now, however, Fong Ping was almost certain to get into a martial arts university. Chen Fan knew that he had no hope of becoming a martial artist, but he did not want to be left too far behind by the other member of the ordinary duo. Fong Ping, Wu Zhihao, and the others were all multitasking, but he was single-minded. As a result, his cultural studies were only slightly better than Fong Ping's, and even worse than Wu Zhihao's. Wu Zhihao scored 648 points in the mock exam, second in class. The first in class and also a martial sciences candidate, Lu Ruoqi. Lu Ruoqi scored 660 points. These martial sciences candidates had much harder tasks than them, but they could still do so well. This made Chen Fan feel very frustrated. Fong Ping could see through Chen Fan's thoughts. When the results were out, he purposely expressed his envy, complaining that he did not score as high as Fong Ping despite staying up late every day. At that moment, Fong Ping did not dare to tell Chen Fan that he never studied for cultural studies at night. If Chen Fan found out, Fong Ping was afraid that he would want to go to the rooftop. When school was over, Wu Zhihao put a hand on Fong Ping's shoulder, beaming. He said happily, "You're officially on holiday starting tomorrow. How about going out for a couple of days to relax?" His vitality was 120 calories, and his score in the mock exam was more than 50 points higher than the benchmark. With this kind of result, getting into a martial arts university was a sure thing. As long as he did not perform badly during the exam, getting into a martial arts university would not be a problem. Naturally, Wu Zhihao was much more relaxed now. Hearing that he wanted to go out to play, Yang Jian said bitterly before Fong Ping could say anything, "Have you considered how I feel? I can't do anything during the holidays. All I can do is read and do questions." Fong Ping also refused. "Tomorrow is Children's Day. I have to celebrate it with my kids, so I don't have time to go out." Pfft. Wu Zhihao almost choked to death. He then laughed and said, "Your kids are talking about your sister, right? Fong Ping, your sister is so funny." Fong Ping glanced at him and said exasperatedly, "You're not close. You know if she's funny or not." "I'm not close, but there's someone else who is. My neighbor's kid is in year 9 of experimental middle school. I've heard about your sister. I heard that your sister is selling your autographed photo in experimental middle school. My neighbor bought one too. I almost died of laughter. Get lost. She stopped selling it a long time ago." Fong Ping cursed. He had known about this a long time ago. Fong Yuan, that brat, had taken Fong Ping's ID photo from his Gaokao and pasted Fong Ping's autograph on his book. Then, she had gone to school to sell it. Fong Ping had not known about it at first, but the brat had bought a lot of snacks to bribe Fong Ping with the intention of sharing the loot. Fong Ping did not think much of it at first, but when he found more snacks in her room, he felt that something was wrong. After questioning her, he found out that it was Fong Yuan's doing. Fong Ping almost died of anger. He had thought that Fong Yuan was joking and did not take it seriously. When he returned to his old house, he saw that there was a hole in his old book where his name was written on the first page. After asking, he found out that the brat had already sold 8 autograph photos at 100 yuan each. Fang Ping was furious. How ugly was her ID photo? Even if she wanted to sell it, couldn't she have changed it to a different photo? His illustrious reputation had been completely ruined by this lass. Fang Ping was too embarrassed to tell others about this. But now even Wu Zhihao knew about it. Wu Zhihao laughed maniacally. Yang Jian and the others were also hearing about this for the first time. They hurriedly asked about it, and when they knew the whole story, they all laughed so hard that they bent over backwards. Fang Ping's expression darkened. He could not be bothered with them. Chapter 72. Scenic Lake Gardens. When Fang Ping arrived at Scenic Lake Gardens, he happened to see Fang Yuan at the entrance. When he remembered how Wu Zhihao and the others had made fun of him, he yelled angrily, "Fang Yuan!" Fang Yuan quickly turned around. Then, with a nervous expression, she whispered to a female classmate beside her, "My brother is back. You should go back first." "Your brother is so imposing!" Fang Ping's embarrassment turned into anger. The female classmate saw it as a martial artist's dignity. She was nervous, but she also looked at him with admiration. She looked at Fang Ping reluctantly, but she remembered Fang Yuan saying that his brother was very fierce. The girl stole a glance at Fang Ping before running away. Before she left, she did not forget what she had to do. She whispered, "Fang Yuan, don't forget! I know." Fang Yuan quickly interrupted her and waved at the girl. When her classmate was far away, Fang Yuan smiled and waved at Fang Ping. "Brother, are you done with school?" Fang Ping walked over and glanced at the girl who had left. His expression was as dark as iron. "What did you do this time?" He paused and asked, "Are you still selling autographs?" "No." Fang Yuan shook her head quickly and denied it firmly. "You're not allowed to sell them." "I wouldn't dare." "Really?" Fang Ping did not quite believe her. It was obvious that the girl and her classmate had a little secret. Now that Fang Ping's vitality was 170 calories and his mentality was approaching 200 hertz, he had sharp ears and eyes. He could hear the two girls' whispers clearly. "Really?" Fang Yuan raised her hand quickly. First, she held up 3 fingers. After some thought, she held up her pinky and said firmly, "I swear." "As if I'd believe you. You didn't do anything wrong. Why would you call me brother when you see me? Brother, don't accuse me wrongly." Fang Yuan looked aggrieved. "You're so hard to please. If I don't call you brother, you say I'm impolite. If I call you brother, you say I did something wrong." The girl immediately returned to normal after her pitiful explanation. She changed the topic. "Brother, are you guys on holiday for grade 12? "Yes, that's great." "Brother, let's go out and play tomorrow, okay? It's a holiday tomorrow." "We'll see." Fang Ping had a feeling that this girl was up to no good. He glanced at her suspiciously a few times, but did not ask any more questions. As they walked toward the district, Fang Ping said, "Summer vacation is coming soon, right?" "Yes, the holidays start at the end of June." "Study well during this period of time. Don't go crazy here and there all day. After I finish my exams, I'll start teaching you how to stand." "Stance?" Fang Yuan immediately asked excitedly, "Can I?" Fang Ping nodded. "You can. Pole standing is considered a solemn silent skill. It doesn't put too much strain on the body. As long as your vitality can keep up, there won't be any problems." He had also consulted Wang Jinyang and Tan Jinping about this matter, and both of them said that there was no problem. Practicing martial arts at a young age was not necessarily a good thing. It could easily harm the body. Before one's body was fully grown, they would start practicing martial arts. Due to the excessive consumption of energy and blood, they would not be able to replenish their qi and blood. In the end, they would develop into deformities and dwarfs. However, as long as his vitality could keep up, pole standing would not be a problem even if he did not cultivate combat techniques or the methods of honing. Fong Ping still had a lot of blood and qi replenishing pills and vitality pills that he had no use for himself. If he were to sell them, it would be difficult for him to find a buyer in such a short time. While he was still at home, he should build Fong Yuan's foundation so that she could at least learn pole standing. Fong Yuan's face lit up when she heard Fong Ping say that she could practice martial arts. In this era, martial artists were respected, regardless of gender or age. There was no one who did not want to become a martial artist. Fong Yuan naturally wanted to, but she was still young and her family was not rich. Fong Ping did not take the path of martial sciences, so naturally, she did not think that she would develop in that direction. Now that Fong Ping said that he would teach her pole standing, the girl's smile became even rounder. She could not wait for the summer vacation to start. Seeing that she was so happy, Fong Ping said coldly, "Before I teach you, tell me, what bad things did you discuss with your classmates?" "Brother, it's fine if you don't want to tell me. I won't teach you if you don't." Fong Ping. Fong Yuan was annoyed and conflicted. After a while, she said reluctantly, "We didn't discuss bad things. Don't you have a lot of old clothes?" Fine, she did not have to say it. Fong Ping gritted his teeth. He said, "That's enough. Selling autographs is one thing, but now you're selling clothes. In a few days, are you going to sell me out as well? You little brat, why do you need so much money? If you don't have money, just ask me for it. If you do this again, I'll beat you up. I'm not selling clothes. I'm selling feelings. Shut up!" Fong Ping scolded. He said in distress, "Next time, you're not allowed to sell anything." Fong Yuan pouted and said unhappily, "Why wouldn't I do it when there's money to be made? Look, the autographs I sold last time were worth a month's salary. They're all old clothes. Just sign them and sell them. Why do you need to worry about our family?" Fong Ping said impatiently, "Mom insists on working. I can't stop her. Is it a problem of money? Don't worry about this. When I'm done with my exams, I'll make arrangements. Don't cause trouble." Fong Mingrong had not gone to the Department of Education yet, but he had told the boss that he would quit after this month. He would go to the Department of Education as a security guard. The boss of the ceramics factory was very polite. Before the month was over, he had already paid his salary a few days ago. Not only did he pay his salary, but he also insisted on compensating for his nutrition expenses. Fong Mingrong could not refuse. If he did not want the boss to complain, he had no choice but to accept it. Old Fong's son had ranked first in the vitality assessment in auspicious Sun City. It was a sure thing for him to get into a martial arts university. This news had spread long ago, and the boss of the ceramics factory did not want to offend a martial arts university student over such a small matter. As for Li Yueying, Fong Ping had talked to her a few times, but she said that the work was not tiring. Besides, she was doing well. If she left suddenly, the boss would have no one to do the work. If she delayed someone else, she should at least wait until someone else found a replacement. His mother insisted, so Fong Ping could not say anything else. He could only wait for a while. The siblings chatted as they walked. When they reached home, Li Yueying had already prepared dinner. Fong Ping's parents had moved in 2 days ago. They had planned to treat their relatives and friends to a meal. However, they thought about it. Fong Ping's gaokao would be in a few days, and he would have to drink after the exam. It would not be appropriate to eat twice in a row. Therefore, Fong Mingrong decided not to treat them for the time being. He would wait until the gaokao banquet was held. As soon as he entered the house, Fong Ping greeted his mother. "Mom, keep an eye on Fong Yuan these few days. Don't let her fool around. This girl sold my photos last time, and now she's going to sell my clothes. It's fine if she sells coats, but it's embarrassing if she sells underwear and panties. Anyway, help me keep an eye on her." Li Yueying could not help but be stunned when she heard this. Then she said in exasperation and amusement, Yuan, don't fool around." Fong Yuan glared at Fong Ping angrily and said weakly, "I know." Fong Ping said it many times. Your brother is going to a martial arts university soon. Don't fool around, Li Yueying also warned her. In Li Yueying's eyes, martial arts university students were all unreachable. She did not even dare to think about it in the past. Now that her son was going to a martial arts university, she could not let her daughter fool around and embarrass her son. Although Fang Ping said it was embarrassing, he did not take these children's fooling around seriously. However, Fang Yuan was still young. At this age, Fang Ping did not want her to get too involved in money matters. Fang Yuan was still immature mentally. At this stage, playing and studying were the most important things. Fang Ping did not want her to get involved in other things. After informing his mother, Fang Ping ignored Fang Yuan's resentful gaze and went straight upstairs. In the gym, Fang Ping called Wang Jinyang again. As soon as the call went through, Fang Ping went straight to the point. Brother Wang, I feel that my pole standing has slowed down recently. It's been quite some time since I broke through to the stable stance. But I still don't have a clue about the stable stance, Wang Jinyang. Old Wang was speechless. It's been quite some time since you broke through to the stable stance. It's only been less than 2 months since you got your hands on the cultivation methods. In less than 2 months, you've mastered pole standing, combat techniques, and even your vitality has broken through the limit. You still have the cheek to say that it's been quite some time? Wang Jinyang rubbed his temples and asked, How's your cultivation of combat techniques going? I've only cultivated the basic leg techniques. So far, I feel that it's all right. I can use both force gathering and explosive force proficiently. The main thing is that I don't really know how to use the stickiness. When I kick, it's a straight line. I can't make the sandbag move according to my rhythm. Mastering the basic leg techniques and sticking to the opponent was a sign. It was difficult to make the opponent follow one's rhythm in a small space. Wang Jinyang rubbed his temples again. After a while he said, There's no need to rush the problem of the stickiness. If you can gather force and explode it, it means that you already have some combat power. The stickiness is used against opponents of similar strength. You can't stick to those who are stronger than you, and you don't have to stick to those who are weaker. These problems will be difficult to solve if you cultivate alone. At the end of the day, it's still related to pole standing. Once your pole standing has broken through to the stable stance, you'll have greater control over your body and your enemies. At that point, you'll find it much easier to use the stickiness. As for your breakthrough, Wang Jinyang paused. If you were in a martial arts university, you'd have access to auxiliary equipment that would make it easier to break through. But you don't have such equipment now. How about this? Buy a skateboard and practice your stance on it. When you can stand on the same level as the ground, you'll be close to the stable stance. The main thing about pole standing is control. Control the body's center of gravity and control the bones and muscles in your body. Let your body move according to your thoughts instead of your body doing the movements and reflecting them to your brain. Wang Jinyang gave his suggestion and briefly explained the general situation of the stable stance. At the end, Wang Jinyang could not help but ask, You'll have your cultural studies exam soon. After that, you'll have to fill in your application forms. With your situation, if your cultural studies are okay, you can apply for the big 2. Do you have any ideas now? Fang Ping, this guy was improving too fast. In less than 2 months, his vitality, bones, and body strength had all broken through the limits of a normal person. Now, even his pole standing was breaking through to the second realm. In terms of combat techniques, Wang Jinyang had not seen Fang Ping's leg techniques before, but he could gather and explode force at will. This meant that Fang Ping had the combat strength of a true martial artist. When he returned to Sun City in April, Wang Jinyang did not expect Fang Ping to change so much. At that time, he had strongly suggested Fang Ping apply for Nanjiang Martial Arts University because he wanted to take care of Fang Ping. After all, he had some status in the university. However, at this time, Wang Jinyang felt that Nanjiang Martial Arts University might not be a good choice for Fang Ping. Actually, Fang Ping had thought about this recently. When Wang Jinyang asked, Fang Ping said immediately, "Brother Wang, I haven't thought about it yet. After all, I don't know much about the martial arts universities. When I'm done with my cultural studies exams and my results are out, I'll have to trouble you to give me a detailed introduction. That's not a problem. I might go back to Sun City during the summer holidays. When your results are out, I'll tell you the details if I'm around. You can decide after that. Don't rush to fill in your application forms. If I don't go back, give me a call, okay? Thank you, Brother Wang. Don't mention it." Wang Jinyang said politely. In the end, he could not hold back his curiosity, so he coughed and said, "Well, Fang Ping, if you don't mind, can you tell me how much your vitality is now?" The more he knew about Fang Ping, the more Wang Jinyang felt that he was hiding his vitality well. He was also quite interested in how much Fang Ping's vitality was now. Fang Ping hesitated for a moment, considering that once Wang Jinyang returned to Sun City, he would be able to get a rough idea if they met. Fang Ping thought for a while and said, "I should be close to the standard of a twice-honed." Lao Wang chuckled and hung up the phone without saying a word. MMP. At the beginning of April, around 110 calories. Not long after, he mistakenly consumed a pill. Around 120 calories. At the beginning of May, he tested his vitality again. 149 calories. It was not June yet. Tomorrow would be June. Now, this guy was telling him that his pole standing was about to break through to the firm stance. His vitality was close to 180 calories. His basic leg techniques were almost fully mastered, and he was preparing for his cultural studies exams. Was he even human? Practicing and learning martial arts 24 hours a day? Although Wang Jinyang's guess was not true, it was not far from it. Fang Ping did not practice martial arts nonstop, but whenever his vitality and mentality dropped, he would use his wealth to replenish them. Everyone else would need a recovery period. Fang Ping's 1 hour of cultivation was equivalent to a few days of cultivation for others. Sometimes he would cultivate for 5 to 6 hours a day, which was equivalent to half a month or even a month for others. His improvement was obvious every day. It had been about 50 days since he started cultivating. The results of these 50 days were equivalent to a year or two of cultivation for others. Fang Ping's progress was not exaggerated. Wang Jinyang had cultivated in a martial arts university for less than half a year, and his results were even more exaggerated than Fang Ping's. Old Wang thought that Fang Ping was not human, and Fang Ping thought that Old Wang was terrifying. Fang Ping did not think that he could break through rank 3 in less than a year. Both of them felt that the other was different. They had to continue working hard, but they did not consider their progress. If others found out, they would curse. Chapter 73. The 1st of June was Children's Day. Of course, it was also Fang Yuan's younger sister's day. Early in the morning, Fang Yuan pestered Fang Ping to celebrate the festival with her. Fang Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. Of course, Fang Ping was very clear about this girl's thoughts. It was a festival after all. Gifts were needed. Fang Ping had prepared a gift for her. As expected, when Fang Yuan asked for a gift, Fang Ping handed her a jelly bean. Fang Yuan's smile faded as she stared at the jelly bean in Fang Ping's hand. She gritted her teeth and said angrily, "This is the gift you prepared." "Yes. Aren't these the chocolate beans I gave you a few days ago?" Fang Yuan was even angrier now. "When I give you a bag, it's a whole bag. When you give me one, it's just one pill." She would have accepted it even if you had given her a whole bag. Who gave her a snack and only one pill? Fang Ping grinned. "These aren't normal chocolate beans. They taste really good. Do you think I lack money?" "I do. But why did I only give you one? Because you're stingy." Fang Yuan retorted irritably. She had never seen a blood and cheer replenishing pill before. Naturally, She did not know that the chocolate bean in her eyes was a blood and qi replenishing pill. One blood and qi replenishing pill cost 30,000 in the market. Fang Yuan could only use blood and qi replenishing pills now. Normal vitality pills were too effective. In fact, some families used qi replenishing pills or blood replenishing pills to build their children's foundation. Blood and qi replenishing pills could not be used at this time without a certain family background. It was more like the day before Gaokao. Fang Ping had a total of 18 blood and qi replenishing pills. They were effective for students with vitality below 150 calories. For Fang Ping and the other official martial artists, however, the blood and qi replenishing pills were used for daily vitality replenishment. Taking blood and qi replenishing pills could no longer increase their vitality limit. Still, it was quite effective for Fang Yuan to build her foundation and nourish her vitality. Fang Ping did not explain Fang Yuan's complaints. The girl was very stingy. If she had known that it was a blood and qi replenishing pill, she would have urged Fang Ping to sell it. She would have been heartbroken if she had known that she had spent tens of thousands. Despite her complaints and dissatisfaction, the girl still raised her head and asked, "Is it really that good?" "Yes, miser." After cursing again, Fang Yuan picked up the chocolate bean and tossed it into her mouth. After chewing a few mouthfuls and swallowing, Fang Yuan was even more dissatisfied. She said angrily, "It doesn't taste good at all." Fang Ping did not mind. He looked at her with a smile. After watching for a while, he didn't find it strange that she didn't have any reaction. The medicinal effect of the medicinal pill was not instantaneous. There was a process of absorption and digestion. Moreover, the effects of the blood and qi replenishing pill were not too strong. Even if Fang Yuan sensed something unusual, he might not care. However, Fang Yuan was still young, and her vitality was not high. Taking the blood and qi replenishing pill at this age would still have side effects. The after effects were quickly manifested. During lunch, Fang Ping decided to reward his sister by treating her to KFC. He ordered a table full of food, but Fang Yuan could only stare at it. She wanted to cry but had no tears. "Fang Ping, I really want to eat, but why don't I have any appetite? Did you piss me off this morning?" She really wanted to eat now, but her stomach felt bloated and she had no appetite at all. She had finally gotten Fang Ping to treat her, but all she could do was watch him eat. Fang Yuan was so angry that she was about to cry. Fang Ping snickered inwardly. "This is what you get for selling my stuff every day and trying to take advantage of my little stash." Fang Yuan's vitality was not high enough. After taking the blood and qi replenishing pill, the medicinal effect had spread, and she did not expend any of her vitality. Why would she feel hungry? When she had enough vitality, she would feel like a normal person who had eaten too much. She would not be able to eat anything, no matter how delicious it was. Fortunately, Fang Yuan did not know what he was thinking. Otherwise, she would have scratched him to death. This guy was doing it on purpose. Fang Ping knew the after effects of taking the blood and qi replenishing pill. It was not really an after effect. People like Fang Ping would digest it quickly after taking it, but Fang Yuan might have to wait a few days. The girl would not have a good appetite for the next few days. It was fun to watch his sister make a fool of herself, but he could not bully her all the time. In the afternoon, Fang Ping found his conscience. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, he brought the girl to the amusement park. Sun City's amusement park did not have any large-scale facilities, but there were some small ones. After playing for the whole afternoon, Fang Yuan's resentment finally dissipated a lot. When she returned home at night, however, she found that her mother had made a lot of delicious food, and she had no appetite. Fang Yuan almost broke down. He complained to Li Yueying incessantly, "Fang Ping sealed my hunger point." Fang Ping almost burst out laughing when he heard that. Hunger point. This girl was really good at coming up with new terms. Li Yueying did not believe her, of course. When she saw that her daughter was not eating, she said angrily. It's all because she ate too many snacks. Ping Ping, don't give her money to buy snacks in the future. Confiscate all the snacks in her room. How is she going to grow if she only eats snacks and doesn't eat? Li Yueying was angry, and Fong Mingrong also chimed in to confiscate the snacks. Their daughter was eating snacks now, and she did not even want to eat rice. How could that be? The couple denounced their daughter. Fong Ping held his bowl and almost buried his face in it. He was afraid that he would burst out laughing. Fang Yuan was going to complain about him, but she suffered a double loss. Even her food reserves were confiscated. The girl's head was drooping and she looked wronged. She was doubting herself. She did not know why she did not want to eat. She complained about Fong Ping because she subconsciously thought that Fong Ping was the only one who would set her up. However, Fong Ping did not do anything to her, did he? No one had ever said that a martial artist could make someone not eat. However, looking at the table of dishes in front of her, she had no appetite. She was not hungry and she was not sick. Could it be that she ate too many snacks? Fang Yuan thought so herself, and she felt even more frustrated. Fang Yuan's refusal to eat became the focus of the couple's attention for the next few days. Every time they ate, Li Yueying would stare at her daughter fiercely, forcing her to eat one bite at a time. Fong Ping laughed every time he saw Fang Yuan's wronged expression. For the next few days, the girls' meals were like death's door. It was not until 3 days later that the side effects of the blood and qi replenishing pill disappeared, and Fang Yuan regained her appetite. Now his parents realized that they had found the cause. It was all because of the snacks. Their daughter's appetite had returned after not eating snacks for 3 days. What else could it be other than that? Even Fang Yuan herself was certain that this was the reason. The whole family did not think too much about it. If it were a family with martial artists, they would have been exposed long ago, and Fang Yuan would have come to settle the score with Fong Ping. Their daughter's problem was solved. Next up was Fong Ping's Gaokao. Fong Ping was not that nervous yet, but his parents were so nervous that they could not sleep. Fong Mingrong had just started work at the Education Bureau and was too embarrassed to ask for leave. Li Yueying, on the other hand, applied for a week's leave to take care of Fong Ping at home. In the blink of an eye, it was the 7th of June. Early in the morning of the 7th, the whole Fong family set out to escort Fong Ping to school for the exam. Fong Ping was not assigned to Sun City No. 1 High School, but coincidentally, he was assigned to Experimental Junior High School, which was Fang Yuan's school. On the way there, he saw parents bringing their children to the exam venue from time to time. However, in most families, the father or the mother came alone. It was rare to see someone like Fong Ping, who came with both his parents and his younger sister. Fong Ping looked at his family's nervous faces and felt helpless, but also a little touched. When he reached the entrance of the exam venue, Fong Mingrong had to go to work, so he left first. His mother and Fang Yuan refused to leave. Fong Ping looked at the crowd outside the school and could not help but think of the attack in auspicious Sun City. The Fong Ping of today was not afraid of anything, even if he was attacked again. His cultivation of the basic leg techniques had reached a certain stage. Fong Ping felt that if he were to compete with the woman from last time, he would most likely win. Of course, that woman had turned into ashes long ago, and Fong Ping would not have the chance to prove himself again. He was not afraid, but his mother and Fang Yuan could not. After a long period of persuasion, Fong Ping finally allowed Fang Yuan to bring his mother home. Scenic Lake Gardens was actually very close to Experimental Junior High School, so there was no need for him to accompany them outside the school gates. Fong Ping only entered the exam venue after his mother and Fang Yuan had left. The last stage. Fong Ping mumbled outside the exam venue. The 5 final stages of martial sciences. Fong Ping had been hearing this phrase since he was reborn a few days ago. Now he had passed all the previous stages. As long as his cultural studies results were not too bad, entering a martial arts university would not be a problem. Although Fong Ping's vitality was extremely high now, It did not mean that he could not go to a martial arts university. He was not even a rank 1 martial artist, and Wang Jinyang, a rank 3 martial artist, still refused to leave the school. Martial arts universities had their own benefits. Fang Ping needed resources, teachers, and secret manuals of cultivation methods. On the path of martial arts, it was wishful thinking to go far on one's own without guidance. If Fang Ping had not met Wang Jinyang, he would not have made it this far, even if the system cheated. Even if he could obtain the methods of honing, pole standing, and combat techniques, he would have gone astray a long time ago if he had relied on himself. Other than that, martial arts universities had many secrets. People like Wang Jinyang seemed to know a lot. On the other hand, Fang Ping had continued to communicate with Tan Jinping a few times because of his father. Tan Jinping was not young, but his knowledge was limited. With these thoughts in mind, Fang Ping entered the exam venue and waited for the teacher to hand out the papers. Martial Arts University. That was the only word Fang Ping could think of. At the same time, Nanjiang Martial Arts University. Wang Jinyang had officially taken over as the president of the Nanjiang Martial Arts Society. He had originally planned to take over next year after Shen Quan had graduated. Now, however, Shen Quan was trapped in the catacombs, and Zhang Qingnan had not returned yet. The 9 grandmasters had sealed the entrance to the catacombs. Before Governor General Zhang left, he had searched the vicinity of the entrance, but he could not find any trace of Zhang Qingnan or Shen Quan. Governor General Zhang had many things to do, so he could not keep searching. It was the same for the other grandmasters. Everyone was busy, and the entrance to the catacombs was sealed, so entry was restricted. Unless he, Wang Jinyang, became a grandmaster himself, it would be difficult for others to continue searching. Grandmaster. The moment he took over as the president of the Martial Arts Society, these 2 words were on Wang Jinyang's mind. He did not have much contact with Shen Quan, but the president of the Martial Arts Society had taken good care of him after he joined the Martial Arts Society. Not to mention that Zhang Qingnan was his mentor. Chapter 74. The Gaokao was held on the 7th. Language was tested in the morning, and mathematics was tested in the afternoon. The 8th, politics, history, and geography were tested in the morning, and physics and chemistry were tested in the afternoon. Yes, English was not tested. Fang Ping and the others still studied English, but it was in the same category as music and art. They only needed to grasp the basics, so there was no need to test them specifically. Language, mathematics, politics, history, and geography were all 150 points, while physics and chemistry were 300 points. Judging from the scores, the government actually placed a lot of emphasis on science subjects. The division of civil and martial arts was just a general division of subjects. The liberal arts that people usually talked about was equivalent to liberal arts plus science in his past life. Or rather, there was no division of subjects in cultural studies at all. Actually, this was normal. Civil and martial arts were already divided into subjects, so there was no need to further divide them in cultural studies. Fang Ping had a relatively easy time with the cultural studies exam. His mentality was advancing toward 200 hertz, almost double that of a normal person. Doubling his mental power didn't just mean that his memory and comprehension were doubled. This kind of increase wasn't calculated in this way. If it was calculated that way, Fang Ping's vitality was not as strong as that of 2 normal teenagers combined. However, if Fang Ping were to fight them now, it would be like torturing vegetables. He could even kill one of them with a kick, since his memory and comprehension were much stronger than a normal person's. Fang Ping did not find the exam too difficult. He had done the same type of questions once, so he could remember them no matter how many times they were changed. The Gaokao officially ended in the afternoon of the 8th. Fang Ping received a call from Wu Zhihao as soon as he got home. "Where are you?" "I just got home. Oh my God!" Wu Zhihao's tone was one of disbelief. He said in surprise, "You're home after the Gaokao." It was as if Fang Ping's return was an unforgivable sin. Before Fang Ping could speak, Wu Zhihao said immediately, We're all at #1 high school. We're going to relax tonight, eat, drink, and be merry. My treat." These people had been restricted for many years. The martial sciences candidates were even worse off. They had paid a huge price for the martial sciences exam. Not everyone was like Fong Ping, whose vitality had skyrocketed in such a short time. Wu Zhihao and the rest usually avoided snacks, drinks, roadside stalls, and did not smoke or drink in order to increase their vitality and maintain nutrient absorption. In short, several years passed like a day, and his days could be said to be miserable. Now that the martial sciences examination had officially ended, all that was left was to wait for the results. Everyone wanted to indulge themselves for a while. Fong Ping could not understand such hardships, but he did not reject Wu Zihao's invitation. He smiled and said, "Sure, I'll go over later." "Hurry up, everyone is waiting. We won't be able to sleep tonight." Wu Zhihao let out an unrestrained roar. Fong Ping could already hear someone beside him roaring as if venting. 15 minutes later, Fong Ping saw Wu Zhihao and the others at the school gate. There were not only martial science examinees, but also social science examinees. There were about a dozen of them, other than the students from class, for there were also groups of students from other classes waiting at the entrance or chatting. As soon as he saw Fong Ping, Zhang Hao laughed loudly. "Fong Ping, you didn't come out to indulge yourself after the exam. Instead, you went home to be a mama's boy. Aren't you embarrassed?" Fong Ping was amused. Indulge? What was there to indulge in Sun City? Don't tell me you're going to take Zhang Nan with you to find a girl to vent? Scram! Zhang Hao blushed and glanced cautiously at Zhang Nan beside him. No matter how carefree these people usually were, they were still high school students. How could they be so mature? This was not the time to compare to the future. Their experiences were also different from those of martial arts university students. High school students were young and inexperienced. As soon as Fong Ping said that, Zhang Hao's face turned red. The others were not much better off. Wu Zhihao looked embarrassed too. Lu Ruoqi, who did not speak much, looked at Fong Ping as if he was a hooligan. She did not know that Fong Ping was such a pervert. Yes, pervert. The so-called indulgence was eating, breaking the rules, drinking a little, and singing. Fong Ping was thinking about finding a girl. If that was not perverted, what was? Seeing everyone looking at him, Fong Ping sighed. What a bunch of immature youngsters. In a few years, even middle school students would be more open-minded than them. Everyone had wanted to tease Fong Ping, but now they were stuck. Plus, with the girls around, the boys were too embarrassed to discuss such things with a pervert like Fong Ping. Wu Zhihao waved his hand and said loudly, "Come on, let's go eat barbecue first. No drinks tonight. Let's drink. After we're done, let's go sing. This is the only time we've had a drink in secret. Let's drink to our heart's content today. It's my treat." The others did not stand on ceremony and agreed. Everyone laughed and walked toward the pedestrian street. There were many barbecue stalls there. A group of hotheads who had never drunk before ordered 5 cases of beer and 2 bottles of white wine. Before the barbecue was even served, the boys tried to be heroes and drank first as a sign of respect. Fong Ping watched Zhang Hao drink almost 2 ounces of white wine in one gulp. He was a little worried about the return trip. This group of hotheads did not eat and had never drunk before. They drank everything in one gulp, but they looked arrogant. Fong Ping was willing to bet that no more than 3 of them would be able to go back standing. Fong Ping was already considering whether he should send them back or open a KTV room and throw them there to sleep until the next morning. Zhang Hao did not care about that. The alcohol had not kicked in yet, so he was excited. As he drank, he shouted loudly, "We've been classmates for 3 years in high school, but we've never had a gathering. You do your thing and I do mine. Now that the exams are over, we'll go our separate ways. Some will go to martial arts universities, some to famous social sciences universities, and some to normal universities. A few years later, when we graduate, the difference will be like heaven and earth." Who knows if we'll be able to meet again then? Let's take this opportunity to eat and drink to our heart's content. We won't stop until we're drunk." His words caused a ripple in many people's hearts. They might be young, but they were not stupid. Among them, Fong Ping and Wu Zhihao were almost certain to go to martial arts universities and become martial artists in the future. Lu Ruoqi, Qin Fan, and the others could not go to martial arts universities, but getting into a famous social sciences university was not too difficult. Even if they were ordinary people, they would have a bright future. Zhang Hao, Zhang Nan, and the others with slightly worse grades were also confident of getting into a key university. If they were any worse, they could only go to a normal university or even a trashy one. Would everyone be the same in a few years? Of course not. As soon as Zhang Hao finished speaking, the person who answered first was none other than the usually quiet Lu Ruoqi. Lu Ruoqi raised her glass full of beer and lost her composure. "I'll drink with you guys. It's been 6 years. Since junior high, my family has been hoping that I can get into martial sciences. For that, we sold our house and borrowed money. In the end, I still disappointed them. It's okay. Even if I can't get into a martial arts university, I believe that ordinary people can also make a name for themselves." This girl, who was usually quiet and aloof, opened her heart at this moment. It was not that she did not want to talk or pretend to be aloof. It was just that the pressure was too great. It was so great that she did not dare to make friends. She had to study hard and train hard. She did not dare to waste a single second under the eager gazes of her family. However, her vitality was only 115 calories. Her chances of getting into a martial arts university were slim. Lu Ruoqi's eyes reddened when she thought about how she had struggled for so many years, shouldering her family's high hopes and failing the martial sciences exam. "Ruoqi," Zhang Nan chuckled. "I believe in you. You can do it." As she said that, Zhang Nan raised her glass and drank. Since the two girls had drunk, the other boys did not want to be outdone. They picked up their glasses and drained them in one gulp, regardless of whether it was white or beer. Even Fong Ping did not pretend to be dumb. It would be embarrassing if he did not drink when the girls were already drinking. When the barbecue was served, everyone was even more excited. They clinked glasses with each other without stopping. Sitting beside Fong Ping was Chun Fan, one of the original members of the ordinary duo. In everyone's eyes, he was taciturn. Tonight, he let go of all his burdens and drank to his heart's content. After 3 rounds of drinking, some of the hotheads had already passed out. Chun Fan's glasses were crooked. He raised his glass and grinned at Fong Ping. "Fong Ping, I'm so jealous of you. You said you were going to take the martial sciences exam, and you did it. You actually passed. Say, if you become a martial artist, will I regret it for the rest of my life? Sometimes I think, why don't I take the exam? I'm not worse than you. If you can pass, why can't I? Fong Ping, don't you think so?" Fong Ping helped him up and nodded with a smile. "Of course. You're smarter than me. If you take the exam, you'll definitely pass." "You think so too?" "Yes, it's fine. It's not like I can't become a martial artist when I go to university. If I can't, I'll just marry a wife, have a son, and let my son get into a martial arts university. People like us are tormented by money. If we're rich, we won't have to worry about not getting into a martial arts university. If you earn a lot of money, it'll be the same if your son becomes a martial artist." You're right." Chin Fan burped and grinned. "I just don't have money at home. I don't have the money to buy pills and supplements. Otherwise, I could have taken the exam too. If I was like this, my son wouldn't be like this." "Ha ha ha. Chin Fan, you're thinking about your son now? You're thinking so far ahead." Someone beside him laughed and shook his head. "Actually, I think it's good that he can't get into a martial arts university. At least it's not that dangerous. I heard that martial arts universities train like crazy. Every year, martial arts university students die during training." "They really do. There's a martial arts university student from my grandfather's side. He's in his third year. I heard that his results are excellent and he gets bonuses every year. He hasn't graduated from a martial arts university, but he built a villa in his hometown. His parents drive luxurious cars. Even the city leaders go to his house for New Year's greetings. And then he died. I heard that the end of semester training was too dangerous. He died just like that. The school and the government compensated him with a few million, but he's already dead. What's the use of money? This person was also a member of class 4. He was one of the 8 people who applied for martial sciences. He was not too eye-catching, though, so he was ignored by everyone. Fang Ping could tell that he was not trying to scare them. Nor was he jealous of Fang Ping and Wu Zhihao for being able to get into a martial arts university. He was afraid. He was really scared and timid. His lips were trembling when he said those words. A living person had died, just like that. He actually knew that person. He had gone to his house to play when he was young. When he found out that he had died in a martial arts university, this person had developed a sense of fear toward martial arts universities. His results were not bad at first, and his vitality was not low either. However, he was fearful and did not look forward to going to a martial arts university. He muddled along for a few years. When he did not pass the standard vitality checkup, others were upset, but he was relieved. He had too much to drink now, so he spoke his mind. Isn't it good to be a normal person? There's nothing bad about it. Normal people were not slaves. They could open a small company, work in a business, or even work in a government agency. As the saying went, be an official, but go to the city. How many normal people could become a city-level official or above? If they really had the chance, they could just go to a martial arts training class and work hard. It would still be the same. Be an official, but go to the city was actually the same thing. If one could really do business to that extent, who was not a smart person? How could a smart person not find a loophole? If he wanted to become a martial artist, he could just throw money at it. If he wanted to find a reliable martial artist to rely on, he could still throw money at it. If he wanted to live a safe and stable life, how much worse was that than going to a martial arts university? It was not like these things had never happened before, so he was not that disappointed about not being able to get into a martial arts university. After he said that, the others seemed to be in a much better mood. Chin Fan smirked and patted Fang Ping's shoulder. Fang Ping, don't be stupid. If worst comes to worst, you can drop out of school. If you really want to die, don't do it. Of course. Would I do something like that? Fang Ping laughed and raised his glass to drink with everyone. After eating the barbecue and drinking, the half-drunk group insisted on going to karaoke. Among them, Fang Ping was probably the only sober one. He could not dissuade them, so he flagged down 3 cars and dragged them to the KTV. There were many people at the KTV tonight, mostly senior 3 students. As soon as they entered the private room, a few of them who were not good with alcohol went into a drunken frenzy, shouting into their microphones. They sang, they danced, some cried, some laughed. After sobering up, they were still the obedient children in the eyes of their parents, the future hope of their families. However, in their drunken stupor, this group of teenagers vented the stress and frustration in their hearts. Fang Ping's feelings were complicated. He did not know if he should comfort them or say something else. In the end, Fang Ping did not say anything and took on the role of logistics. Living in this world, there were all kinds of pressure and depression. No one could live an easy life. Did Fang Ping have it easy? Actually, he did not have it easy either. Did Wu Zhihao, who could also go to a martial arts university, have it easy? If he had it easy, this guy would not have been rolling around on the floor drunk. Everyone opened their hearts at today's gathering because they knew that this might be the only gathering where they could talk and treat each other equally. Could it still be like this in the future? They did not know, and neither did Fang Ping. It was not until late at night that everyone ended the party. Outside the KTV, many parents were waiting under the streetlights. Some were supporting their children, while others were carrying their drunken, nonsensical children home. They had their own difficulties. Fong Mingrong, who was standing on one side of the street, looked concerned. Seeing that his son was still sober, he smiled and said nothing. The father and son walked home, quietly, one in front and one behind. As they walked, Fong Ping suddenly laughed. "Dad, they say that teenagers don't know what it's like to worry, but now I realize that even teenagers can worry. Does this mean that we've all grown up?" Fong Mingrong grinned. "Yes, we've all grown up. After going to university, we're no longer following our parents around everywhere. That's good. Dad, I don't have to worry about you." The words "don't have to worry about you" calmed Fong Ping's fluctuating emotions. After high school, they would be leaving their parents' side. These senior 3 students, including himself, could all say that they had grown up. A new world was opening up for him. Even though he had such experiences in his past life, in this life, how mysterious and different was the world of martial artists. At this moment, Fong Ping was looking forward to it. Chapter 75. In the world of martial artists, the efficiency of government agencies seemed to be much faster. In the middle of June, less than 10 days after the exams ended, the results of the cultural studies exams were released. Scenic Lake Gardens. Fong Yuan was anxious for him as she watched Fong Ping type in his ID slowly. She urged him from behind. "Fong Ping, can't you hurry up?" "What's the hurry?" Fong Ping was unhurried. It took him a while to confirm the information. When he entered the query page, Fong Ping glanced at it and said in an unsurprised tone, "It's about the same as what I expected. Chinese, 120 points mathematics, 131 points politics, history, and geography, 112 points physics and chemistry, 264 points total score. 627 points since Fong Ping was not a liberal arts student in his past life, and there were some changes in politics and history. Fong Ping did not score too high. The other subjects, on the other hand, did quite well, meeting Fong Ping's expectations. His total score was 627 points, 32 points higher than the benchmark announced yesterday. The news had announced that the Ministry of Education had set the benchmark at 595 points this year. 627 points. Fong Yuan moved her face closer to the computer. When she saw the score, she was pleasantly surprised. Although Fong Ping's cultural studies were not too bad, he had been hovering around the benchmark. She did not expect his Gaokao score to exceed 30 points. "Fong Ping, you've gotten into a martial arts university." Fong Yuan's face lit up with joy as she shouted loudly. Everyone had said that Fong Ping's admission to a martial arts university was almost guaranteed, that he would definitely make it. However, that was all uncertain. If he had flunked his cultural studies exams, he would only be a casual martial artist, no matter how high his vitality was. Now, Fong Ping's score for cultural studies had reached 627 points. This meant that Fong Ping's admission to a martial arts university was guaranteed. Fong Yuan was overjoyed. Before Fong Ping could react, she turned and ran out. She said as she ran, "I'm going to tell Mom and Dad." "Slow down," Fong Ping shouted, but Fong Yuan had already gone downstairs. This girl could be so silly sometimes. Couldn't she have just called them to tell them? Fong Yuan was obviously excited, though. Those who did not know would have thought that she was taking the Gaokao. Fong Ping shook his head as Fong Yuan ran off. He had not finished checking the information. He was a martial sciences candidate. Apart from his cultural studies results, there were other subjects as well. Fong Ping opened another query portal. Very quickly, the results of the martial sciences examinations were entered. Name: Fong Ping Vitality, 149 Cal Professional courses, 85 points out of 100 actual test, 98 points out of 100. During the physical assessment, other items were not included. Only the level of vitality was recorded, because if he could get his vitality tested, it meant that he had passed all the other physical assessment tests. Fang Ping glanced at it and was satisfied. Needless to say, his vitality was high, and his pole standing had broken through to the stable stance realm at that time, so his actual results would not be that low. As for the professional courses, Fang Ping had only been exposed to them for a short period of time. Getting 85 marks was considered pretty good. Every martial arts school would update their official website at the same time the college entrance examination scores were released today, announcing their recruitment criteria. Martial arts universities had a higher degree of autonomy when it came to recruiting students. The admission standards of each martial arts university were determined by the martial arts university itself and published on the official website. In this way, there was also an advantage. The examinees could be more clear about the scope of their application. Fang Ping was not in a hurry to check out the other martial arts universities. Instead, he opened Nanjiang Martial Arts University's official website. Nanjiang Province Martial Arts University's 2008 admission standards. Vitality, 116 calories and above, 116 calories inclusive. Same for others. Cultural studies, 605 and above professional courses, 80 and above actual test, 80 and above. These are the minimum standards for each subject. In 2008, it is estimated that 1,200 students will be admitted nationwide. Note 1. Vitality of 130 calories and above. Other subjects may be slightly lower than the admission standard. Note 2. Cultural studies, 680 and above. Other subjects may be slightly lower than the admission standard. Note 3. Candidates will be admitted based on their vitality, cultural studies, professional courses, and actual test scores. Nanjiang Martial Arts University's admission standards were clear at a glance. As expected, their results were much higher than last year's. Last year, Nanjiang Martial Arts University's minimum vitality was 112 calories. This year, the minimum was 116 calories. As for the cultural studies, 680 and above, the standard could be lowered appropriately. It was not that simple. Some of the people who scored 680 in cultural studies would not apply to Nanjiang Martial Arts University at all. Some of them were social sciences candidates who would not be able to apply no matter how high their scores were. There were also some who met the vitality standard and might not apply to Nanjiang Martial Arts University. There were very few students who scored 680 and above with a vitality lower than 116 calories. It was so rare that all the major martial arts universities would give them special treatment. The whole world revered martial arts, but that did not mean they would restrain literature. This could be seen from the fact that martial arts universities generally required their cultural studies scores to be higher than the key score. Nanjiang Martial Arts University was a professional martial arts university. It also recruited more students with a national enrollment of 1,200. Fang Ping then looked at the other two universities in Nanjiang Province that had martial arts departments. There were 3 martial arts universities in Nanjiang Province. Nanjiang Martial Arts University specialized in martial arts and did not recruit social sciences students. The other 2 universities had martial arts departments and recruited social sciences students at the same time. Nanjiang University of Science and Technology's admission standards were similar to Nanjiang Martial Arts University's, but the requirements for cultural studies were higher at 610 and above. They also recruited fewer students, with a total of 200 students. The last one was Nanjiang University. Their vitality was 1 calorie higher than Nanjiang Martial Arts University's at 117 calories. They also had to score 610 and above in cultural studies. They recruited fewer students than Nanjiang University of Science and Technology, with a total of 150 students. The 3 martial arts universities in Nanjiang Province recruited a total of 1,550 students. 3 martial arts universities in a province was actually quite a lot. Many provinces only had one martial arts university in their province, and it was not a professional one. They recruited 1 to 200 students along the way. Without a strong leader to help fight for resources in such a barren province, martial artists would have to leave due to the lack of resources. Every year, they could only pay a high price to keep a few seated candidates. Among the 3 universities in Nanjiang, Nanjiang Martial Arts University's requirements are the lowest. After all, they recruit more students. Fang Ping compared the standards of the 3 universities. If he could apply, Wu Zhihao should have no problem too. Yang Jian, the other one who met the requirements in class, had a vitality of 116 calories, but cultural studies, Fang Ping was worried for Yang Jian. Could this guy reach the minimum standard of 605 in cultural studies? If their vitality was the same, cultural studies would be compared first, followed by general studies, and finally the practical results. Fang Ping believed that there would be many students applying to Nanjiang Martial Arts University with 116 calories. There would definitely be more than 1,200. If their vitality was the same, their final score in cultural studies might be higher than 605. Lu Ruoqi was a little disappointed. With 115 calories, it was not possible for her to score 680. She could not apply to the 3 martial arts universities in Nanjiang. As for the other martial arts universities in the country, Fang Ping did not know if there were any martial arts universities with an admission score lower than 116 calories. Nanjiang Martial Arts University did not have high admission standards among martial arts universities. Normal martial arts universities did not have much difference in their vitality requirements, but it did not mean that there was no chance. After looking at the admission standards of Nanjiang's local martial arts universities, Fang Ping could not help but open Magic City Martial Arts University's official website. Vitality, 130 calories and above, 130 calories inclusive. Cultural studies, 620 and above general studies. 90 and above practical tests. 90 and above. Fang Ping was a little embarrassed when he saw the information. According to this standard, his general studies score of 85 was not even the minimum for Magic City Martial Arts University. However, like Nanjiang Martial Arts University, Magic City Martial Arts University also had an attached note. Note 1. Vitality of 149 calories and above inclusive. The requirements for other subjects may be lowered. Admission based on discretion. One note was enough to make Fang Ping feel the difference between a famous martial arts university. They could give you special treatment, but you had to be outstanding enough. What did 149 calories vitality mean? A peak aspiring martial artist. In all of auspicious Sun City, Fang Ping was the only one who had reached this standard in recent years. A student who was considered a top-notch talent in Nanjiang would only be given a little preferential treatment in Magic City Martial Arts University. Note 2. Scores above 700 in cultural studies. Vitality not lower than 120 calories, inclusive. In principle, admission is granted. The corner of Fang Ping's mouth twitched again. How many people could meet this requirement? Martial science exam candidates were multitasking. Although they did not neglect their cultural studies, and their results were not bad, 700 points and above was enough to be the province's top scholar, right? Magic City Martial Arts University. Fang Ping met the requirements of Note 1. It mentioned admission based on discretion. Fang Ping only lacked general studies, and the difference was not too big. If he really wanted to apply, it should not be a problem. The other famous university, Capital City Martial Arts University, had similar standards as Magic City Martial Arts University. However, the vitality requirement was 2 calories higher than Magic City Martial Arts University, with a minimum of 132 calories. The requirements were still the same. Fang Ping should be able to apply to Capital City Martial Arts University. Fang Ping was a little conflicted now. He had been struggling with this question since the vitality assessment. Should he go to Nanjiang Martial Arts University and be the head of the chicken? Cough. This title always made Fong Ping think. Or should he go to the big two and be the tail of the chicken? Of course, his vitality was 149 calories. Even among the big two, he was not at the bottom. In fact, his current vitality was more than 149 calories. The new martial artists in the big two might not be stronger than him. Even if he went to the big two, he would not be too scared. How big is the gap between martial arts universities? This was the question Fong Ping had been thinking about. With his results, staying in Nanjiang would definitely be rewarded handsomely. If the gap between the Big Two and Nanjiang Martial Arts University was not too big, staying in Nanjiang might not be a bad thing. At least he would have a lot of resources from the start. However, if the gap was too big, it would not be worth it to stay for the resources in front of him. Old Wang said that he might return to Sun City the day after tomorrow. I'll ask Old Wang for his opinion then. Fong Ping did not know much about this, so he could only ask Wang Jinyang. He did not continue to struggle because Fong Ping's phone was already vibrating. Without looking, Fong Ping knew that it was a classmate from his class. It was most likely Wu Zhihao. As expected, once the call was connected, Fong Ping heard Wu Zhihao say excitedly, "Fong Ping, how many points did you get in cultural studies?" "I got 645 points. I'm having a headache now. I don't know which university I should apply to." "I checked. I have 120 calories vitality. There are 30 to 40 martial arts universities I can choose from." Fong Ping grinned. "Is that so?" "Congratulations." "Right, I got 627 points too. I'm wondering if I should go to the big two now. What do you think?" "Cough, cough." Wu Zhihao cursed under his breath. He should not have called Fong Ping to show off. He should have found someone else. Unfortunately, he was too embarrassed to show off to those who did not get into martial arts universities. Fong Ping was the only one in class who could be sure that he did. After thinking for a while, Wu Zhihao made his choice. He would go show off to the Tan brothers. Their cultural studies scores were average. They were definitely not as high as his, and they would definitely not be able to get into the big two. However, a normal martial arts university should be fine. Showing off to them would not only satisfy his desire to show off, but it would also not hurt them. Thinking of this, Wu Zhihao did not want to waste any more time talking to Fong Ping. He hung up immediately. Wu Zhihao hung up too quickly. Fong Ping did not even have time to ask about Yang Jian's results. After some thought, Fong Ping still did not call Yang Jian's house to ask. Yang Jian did not have a cell phone. If Fong Ping called his house to ask about it, a narrow-minded person would think that he was showing off. As for Lu Ruoqi, Fong Ping naturally did not know much about her. He did not spend much time with the girls in class. He stopped thinking about other people's matters and sent a short text to Old Wang. 627 points in cultural studies, begging for guidance. Chapter 76. The next day, June 15th, in a tea house near scenic lake gardens. When Fong Ping arrived, Wang Jinyang had arrived slightly earlier than him. Wang Jinyang was the one who chose to meet at the tea house. From the location of their meeting, it could be seen that Wang Jinyang's personality was relatively mild. He wasn't as jumpy as other young people. Fong Ping was not surprised to see Wang Jinyang. However, Fong Ping was surprised to see a girl who was even younger than Fong Yuan sitting next to Wang Jinyang. Wang Jinyang brought his sister along. He didn't seem to have mentioned that he had a sister. The little girl's eyes were big and her skin was fair, but she lacked some intelligence. She didn't look around and just stared at the teacup in a daze. Fong Ping glanced at him, then smiled and greeted, "Brother Wang." "Sit." Wang Jinyang nodded slightly. When he saw Fong Ping looking at the little girl, pain flashed across his eyes. He said softly, "Nini, my instructor's daughter." "Oh, hello, Nini." Fong Ping was a little surprised that Old Wang had brought his teacher's daughter with him. He didn't think that she was a high school or university teacher, but he subconsciously thought that she was the daughter of Wang Jinyang's local teacher in Sun City. The little girl, called Nini, lifted her head and glanced at Fang Ping. Then he continued to look at the teacup without making a sound. Naturally, Fang Ping would not argue with a child. He smiled and did not continue. However, he thought to himself that this little girl was not as sensible as his round plump. Wang Jinyang did not blame her. He gently patted the little girl's head and said gently, "Senior brother, talk to him for a while. This guy has a younger sister who is a few years older than you. Let's go play with her when we have time." Nini, who had been silent all this while, raised her head again and said in a clear voice, "No, I want to go home." "Nini, be good. Master's wife will be busy these few days, so she asked me to bring you out to relax. If you go back now, won't I be scolded?" Wang Jinyang's expression remained gentle as he comforted her. The little girl lowered her head and stopped talking. Wang Jinyang let out an almost inaudible sigh. He did not continue to ignore Fang Ping. He turned his head and smiled. "Sorry for the inconvenience." It's fine. Fang Ping was starting to understand now. This girl seemed to be the daughter of Wang Jinyang's martial arts university teacher. Who would have thought? Fang Ping thought to himself. Old Wang's flattery has even brought the teacher's daughter along. It looks like old Wang and this teacher have a good relationship. A martial arts university instructor should also be a martial arts powerhouse, right? Was this the reason why Lao Wang had improved so quickly? While Fang Ping was thinking, Wang Jinyang suddenly stared at him and smiled faintly. "Interesting. You've completed twice honing?" As soon as he said that, the girl beside him could not help but raise her head. Obviously, this girl knew what twice hone meant. Fang Ping said humbly, "It was a coincidence. I finished it recently. It's all thanks to the body-strengthening elixir that Brother Wang sent me. This is your own hard work. It has nothing to do with me. There is no need to be overly modest." Wang Jinyang shook his head, but his eyes were sharp as he said, "In early April, when we first met, you were actually very mediocre." Wang Jinyang had no qualms about using the word mediocre to describe Fang Ping at that time. "It's only been 2 months, and you've actually completed the twice honing. I have to say, Fang Ping, you've surprised me. After the incident with Huang Bin, I knew that you wouldn't continue to be mediocre. I thought that you might only be able to show off after you enter a martial arts university, or even after you've graduated. Still, you've exceeded my expectations. A scholar who has been away for 3 days must look at you in a different light." Ever since Fang Ping had killed Huang Bin, Wang Jinyang had felt that this high school junior would one day make a name for himself. However, he had not expected Fang Ping to complete the twice honing in just 2 months. When he had completed the twice honing, his vitality had reached 180 calories. Even if there were some differences between them, the difference between them would not be too big. Fang Ping had probably honed around 180 calories as well, so his vitality should be over 180 calories now. This kind of person was even rarer than a rank 1 martial artist. Not everyone could go through the twice honing process. Among the more than 4,000 students in Nanjiang Martial Arts University, Wang Jinyang knew that there were less than 5 people who had gone through it. Moreover, these people had used the university's resources and spent a lot of time to complete the twice honing process after entering the university. He was considered one of the faster ones, completing it in the first semester of his freshman year. 2 of them had waited until their junior year to complete the twice honing process. It was a waste of time and effort. If it were not for the fact that they had hopes of completing the twice honing process, the university would not have provided them with any more resources. Wang Jinyang looked calm on the surface, but deep down he was arrogant. There were not many people in the whole of Nanjiang Martial Arts University who could receive such praise from him. Nini, who was beside him, seemed to know the senior brother a little. She looked at Fang Ping again. She had not spoken to Fang Ping before, so the little girl was slightly hesitant. However, she still asked, "You completed the twice honing process in 2 months?" Before Fong Ping could answer, Wang Jinyang laughed and said, "Probably. This guy is actually half a senior brother to you, Nini. Or should I say a junior brother? His methods of honing and pole standing can be considered to have been cultivated under my guidance. If you really think about it, you can call me martial nephew." As he said this, Wang Jinyang gave Fong Ping an apologetic look. He was not bragging, nor was he insulting anyone. It was just that ever since his teacher was trapped in the catacombs and announced to the public that he was missing, his daughter had been depressed. It was rare to find a topic of interest, so Wang Jinyang could only tease the little girl about Fong Ping. As expected, when she heard the words martial nephew, the little girl wanted to laugh, but she lowered her head in embarrassment. Fong Ping did not mind. After all, what Wang Jinyang said was the truth. His pole standing, methods of honing, and combat techniques were all taught by Wang Jinyang. He could also see that Wang Jinyang was trying to make this child happier. Seeing this, he took the opportunity to smile and say, "Brother Wang is right. Then should I call Nini martial uncle? Or martial aunt?" The little girl could not hold it in any more. She giggled, then quickly covered her mouth and lowered her head, not daring to look at the two of them. Wang Jinyang was overjoyed. He secretly gave Fong Ping a thumbs up to express his gratitude. Seeing the little girl lower her head in embarrassment, Wang Jinyang did not tease her anymore. He went back to the topic at hand. "Now that you've completed the twice honing, are you going to break through now, or continue to nurture your vitality?" "Brother Wang, can I continue honing after the twice honing?" "Yes." Wang Jinyang gave an affirmative answer, but he said, "There are still people who have honed their bones thrice. But you should have felt it. The higher our vitality, the greater the burden on our bodies. When you're a prospective martial artist, having a high vitality is helpful for future breakthroughs. But that doesn't mean it's good to be infinitely high. Going too far is as bad as falling short. If you can reach thrice honing, then do it. But once you feel the pressure on your body, you can't force it. Also, the help of thrice honing is limited. I haven't done it myself, so I haven't experienced it firsthand. But I know a thrice honed guy from Magic City Martial Arts University. This guy used to be a genius, but he insisted on staying as a prospective martial artist for the sake of thrice honing. His classmates had already broken through to rank 2, but he was still a prospective martial artist. When he completed the thrice honing, he thought he would soon catch up to his classmates. However, reality proved that his speed of honing was slightly faster than others, but there was a limit to it. Compared to the initial investment, it was not worth it. Everyone's ultimate goal in the early stages of martial arts was to complete the honing of the entire body. Whether it's honing after becoming a martial artist or during the prospective martial artist period, it's all the same. Don't suppress just for the sake of suppressing. The more one suppressed in martial arts, the stronger one would become. Suppressing forcefully was a waste of time and money. So what if one dominated the prospective martial artist realm? The twice-honed Wang Jinyang could achieve rank 4 in a year. Perhaps he could achieve rank 4 soon. By the time he achieved rank 4, those guys who had forcefully honed their bones twice or thrice honed might still be prospective martial artists. If they were one step behind, would they really be able to catch up to him? They could do it as long as it did not affect their future. If it did, they had to let go when it was time. Thank you for the reminder, Brother Wang. I understand. I won't force myself to do it. Fong Ping thanked him. Wang Jinyang's reminder was meaningful. At least it made Fong Ping understand that the more he suppressed, the stronger he would become. Wang Jinyang also reminded him that if a prospective martial artist's vitality was too high and he could not control it, it would be more dangerous during a breakthrough. If he felt that his vitality was too strong and he could not control it, he must not continue cultivating and honing. The two of them talked about cultivation issues. Fong Ping was just about to ask about his university choice when Wang Jinyang suddenly said, "There's no need to rush the registration. Let's have a cup of tea." We'll go to the city stadium later. Huh. Fang Ping was confused. Why would he go to the stadium at this time? To see how your combat technique cultivation is going. Wang Jinyang explained, then added, it has something to do with your next choice. Combat techniques have something to do with the university I choose? Fang Ping seemed to have some concept in his mind, but he was clueless and did not really understand what it meant. Wang Jinyang did not explain further. Famous martial arts universities had their advantages, and normal martial arts universities had their advantages too. At least, some extremely difficult missions would not appear in normal martial arts universities. The Big Two had more resources, strong teachers, and more opportunities. However, any gains had to be made with effort. Fang Ping might be a genius in cultivation, but he might not be a genius in combat. It was not that there were no such people. If he were to recommend Fang Ping to the Big Two without any talent in combat, the faster he cultivated, the faster he would die. His rank was high, but he did not have the combat strength of someone of the same rank. It was fine for such people to work peacefully as clerks, but if they really went to the catacombs, they would be the first to die. Wang Jinyang drank his tea calmly. Even though Fang Ping had a stomach full of questions, he could only drink his tea with him. Nini, who was beside him, was young, but she knew a lot. She probably knew what was going to happen next. Her originally lifeless expression regained its liveliness. She blinked her big eyes and looked at Fang Ping sympathetically. Fang Ping was drinking his tea, so he did not notice the scene. Wang Jinyang saw it, though. He rubbed her head and made a shu gesture with his finger. Chapter 77. City Gymnasium. In the fitness room. Bang! With a dull thud, Fang Ping came into close contact with the ground again. Wang Jinyang, who had thrown Fang Ping out with one hand, shouted coldly, "Didn't you eat? Even women are stronger than you are. You've cultivated combat techniques to the point where you're limp and tickling me. Whether it's leg techniques or fist techniques, they're all created for killing. Speed, accuracy, and ruthlessness are the basic requirements. Your leg techniques are limp and weak, and your movements aren't decisive enough. You're already dead before your leg is out." Fang Ping rubbed his butt and limped to his feet. He said helplessly, "Brother Wang, you don't have to be so ruthless, do you?" The usually easygoing Wang Jinyang's eyes turned cold as he scolded. Whether it's sparring or actual combat, combat techniques are meant to be used in battle. What's the point of practicing combat techniques if you don't have the will to fight and are ruthless? Fang Ping did not say anything else. He took a deep breath and jogged to assist. When he was in front of Wang Jinyang, his left leg shot out and his right leg straightened, whipping out. Bang! Wang Jinyang blocked his whipping leg with one arm, his other hand reaching out and grabbing Fang Ping's neck. Did you lose your hands just because you've cultivated leg techniques? Can't you block? Your midsection is wide open. If someone blocks or dodges your leg attack, they can kill you easily. The vital parts of your upper body are completely defenseless. Your hands become a burden. Don't you want to train your leg techniques to turn you into a deformed person? Your hands are just decorations. Wang Jinyang did not hold back as he spoke, causing Fang Ping's face to turn red. When Fang Ping struggled violently, Wang Jinyang shook his hand and flung him a few meters away. Fang Ping staggered, but did not fall. He rubbed his neck and panted. Do martial arts university students have many opportunities for actual combat? If you're willing to be ordinary, you can hide in the back for the rest of your life. Wang Jinyang said lightly, "If you're not willing to be ordinary, then there will be many opportunities like this. So many that you'll be afraid." It's the same for any martial arts university. The ordinary ones are nameless. Of course, there's a guarantee of safety. Once they graduate, they usually have the strength of rank 1 or 2. Go to a company or the government to do a clerical job, and you can also live a life of wealth. This is what many people pursue. I'm not willing to be mediocre. I want to stand out. I want to walk further on the path of martial arts. I want to become stronger. Then you better be prepared. Every year, there would be deaths in martial arts universities, and those who died were all elite students, not mediocre students. Martial artists must fight, and these people died on the path of fighting. Fong Ping smiled bitterly. Even if I wanted to fight, I haven't entered a martial arts university yet. I've only just started cultivating combat techniques, so I don't have any actual combat experience. Brother Wang, aren't you being too ruthless? Experience doesn't come for free. Wang Jinyang coughed and thought to himself, I'm doing this for your own good, lest you get too proud. Fong Ping was not entirely wrong. Experience did not come out of thin air. He hadn't spent much time practicing combat techniques, so he didn't usually have the chance to use them. At this time, there would naturally be many loopholes, but as long as one really experienced a few missions, they would quickly become proficient. In reality, Fong Ping's leg technique's foundational cultivation was passable. His combat strength was not too low because of his high vitality. Still, it was to avoid Fong Ping getting too proud. Of course, Wang Jinyang would not say this out loud. He said righteously, when you fight with the enemy, they won't give you the chance to practice your moves. Do you expect those slayers to feed you moves? It's better to put in more effort than to lose your life while carrying out a mission. Fong Ping was speechless. He thought about it carefully and found that it made sense. Seeing that Fong Ping had accepted his fate, Wang Jinyang regained a smile and said, Of course, you're not too bad yourself. After all, you haven't been cultivating for long, and you've been practicing behind closed doors. The combat techniques test ends here, but your leg cultivation still went awry. Wang Jinyang gave him a few pointers, especially on the problem of his hands. Leg techniques never existed alone. The cultivation of leg techniques was to make the legs more lethal, but it did not mean that the hands were useless. Fong Ping had been misled. When he cultivated leg techniques, he had completely abandoned the instincts of his hands. Old Wang's pointers made Fong Ping realize his mistake, and he quickly thanked him. Nini, who was watching from the side, looked at Fong Ping sympathetically. She knew that he would be miserable, but she did not expect him to be so stupid. He had been beaten up by his senior, and he still thanked her. How stupid! Fong Ping did not know that he was being looked down upon. After the combat techniques test ended, they walked to the resting area and sat down. You still have your combat instincts. Once they sat down, Wang Jinyang first affirmed Fong Ping, then said, No matter which martial arts university you apply for, with your talent, you'll definitely succeed very quickly. When your rank goes up, it means that you'll come into contact with more things. When that time comes, you'll have to face more dangers. At that time, actual combat will also become an essential subject. You're conflicted about whether to apply for the Martial Arts University in Nanjiang Province or the Big Two in Magic City and Capital City. Am I right? Fong Ping nodded. The reason you're conflicted is because of Nanjiang's rewards this year. Without these rewards, people like you wouldn't hesitate at all. Or rather, no one would hesitate to choose the Big Two. Famous universities are famous because they're much better than normal martial arts universities. Fong Ping asked immediately, Brother Wang, what's the difference between the two? And how big? First, resources. Wang Jinyang went straight to the point. The Big Two are martial arts universities, mainly supported by the government. The amount of resources and money allocated to them every year is astronomical. Not only that, but there are also many powerhouses and high-ranking officials from the Big Two. Some are businessmen, some are politicians, and some are in the military. These alumni will also support their alma mater after they become famous. Every year, a large amount of wealth flows from their hands and is returned to the school. Therefore, compared to Nanjiang Martial Arts University, the Big Two will have more resources. Let me give you an example. At Nanjiang Martial Arts University, When you break through from a potential martial artist to rank 1, you can apply for a rank 1 vitality pill for free. You can apply for a rank 1 bone honing pill at half price. The market price of a rank 1 bone honing pill is $500,000. At half price, it's $250,000. Of course, you can use other methods to offset the money. Nanjiang Martial Arts University uses the GPA system. If you do well in exams, you'll be rewarded with merit points. If you cultivate quickly, you'll be rewarded with merit points too. In short, GPA can be used like money, but some resources can only be exchanged with GPA. Money may not be the same as GPA. Fong Ping understood this very well. This was a common model. This was not what Fong Ping was interested in. He asked quickly, "What about the big two?" Wang Jinyang chuckled. When a potential martial artist breaks through to rank 1, the bone honing pill and vitality pill are standard. Do you know what that means? All for free? That's right. Fong Ping was speechless when he heard that. They really are rich. The market price of a rank 1 vitality pill was $300,000. The market price of a rank 1 bone honing pill was $500,000. The total was $800,000. These full-time martial arts universities had more than 1,000 new students every year. If all of them were free, it would be equivalent to giving away more than 800 million in one go. Of course, that was the market price. The cost would not be that high. Nanjiang Martial Arts University took $250,000. Even if they lost money, it would be a small loss. The students still had to bear about half of the cost. Magic City Martial Arts University and Capital City Martial Arts University were free. Fong Ping immediately realized the difference. Wang Jinyang laughed. This is just the beginning. After rank 1, schools like Nanjiang Martial Arts University will exchange resources at 50% of the market price. For example, a normal vitality pill will cost us $50,000 or the corresponding GPA. There's a limit too. In Magic City Martial Arts University, a normal vitality pill only costs $30,000. Of course, there's a limit too. We exchange at 50%, while they exchange at 30%. Actually, that's half of the cost price. There's such a big difference. Fong Ping exclaimed again. A difference of 20% was not a small number. Martial artists' pills were frighteningly expensive. With such a big difference, it was too much of a bias. Wang Jinyang shrugged and said helplessly, "Martial arts universities have external businesses. There are martial arts training classes, normal businesses, and even pill manufacturing. The big two also have a hand in this. Other schools don't have this ability. Martial arts pill manufacturing is a real profiteering industry. At the same time, this is also a privilege of the government. Naturally, the big two can't compete with other schools if they have a hand in this. Say, under these circumstances, how expensive can the big two's pills be? The cost price we're talking about is the factory price. The cost price they're talking about is the actual cost of the materials. The big two were involved in pill manufacturing, and pills were one of the most important resources for martial arts cultivation. With this foundation, it was understandable that the big two's pills were cheap. Wang Jinyang did not elaborate on this and continued, other than the difference in resources, there's also the difference in the strength of the instructors. To most people, there's no difference. The minimum requirement for Nanjiang Martial Arts University's instructors is to be rank 3. Most of them are instructors for new students. Rank for instructors are responsible for guiding the cultivation of standard students. There are also some rank 5 instructors. These are the highest ranks of instructors in Nanjiang Martial Arts University. Rank 6 instructors are all school leaders. They don't teach directly, and there are very few of them. Nanjiang Martial Arts University's vice-chancellor is a rank 7 grandmaster. He's also a leading figure in Nanjiang's martial arts world, Wang Jinyang said with a smile. No matter what rank the instructor is, it doesn't matter if you can only cultivate to rank 1 or 2 before you graduate. Even rank 3 doesn't make a difference. However, if you want to cultivate to rank 4 and become a middle-ranked martial artist, the instructor's guidance is very important. However, if you can really cultivate to rank 4, there will also be powerhouses to guide you. Wang Jinyang was talking about himself. As long as he achieved upper rank 3 and completed the honing of his torso, the vice-chancellor aside, a few rank 6 school leaders would definitely come forward to guide him. In this aspect, the Big Two are slightly better than normal schools. Their instructors are required to be at rank 4. Rank 5 and rank 6 instructors are not uncommon. Nanjiang Martial Arts University currently only has one Grandmaster level powerhouse. Magic City Martial Arts University has 4 Grandmasters. Moreover, one of them is rank 8, maybe even rank 9 Grandmaster. This is also their strong capital. You have to understand that many provinces' governors are not Grandmasters. Some provinces' governors are even rank 5. Of course, there aren't many of them. Most of them are rank 6. Magic City and Capital City have so many high-ranked powerhouses. Their status is not comparable to that of normal schools. Resources, instructors, status. Fong Ping muttered. From the looks of it, the gap between famous schools and normal martial arts universities was huge. Wang Jinyang did not finish his sentence. He continued, the last point is the workload. Workload? Yes. For normal people, it doesn't matter how many missions a martial arts university has. Some students haven't carried out a mission for a few years in university. However, for elite students, it's necessary to carry out missions if they want to go further and obtain more wealth and resources. As for us, there are very few missions to choose from. For example, the mission to capture Huangbin was provided by Sun City. However, this kind of situation is rare. Nanjiang is more peaceful. Sometimes we face a lack of suitable missions. The Big Two are different. One is in Capital City, the other is in Magic City. There are so many missions that you can choose at will. The rewards are also much better. As long as you have the ability, you can exchange for everything you want. After he finished, Fong Ping said with some emotion, "What you said in summary is that mediocre people are the same wherever they go. Outstanding people should go to the Big Two. Is that what you mean?" "You can say that." Wang Jinyang laughed. "If your vitality is around 130 calories, I really don't recommend you to go to the Big Two. Mediocre people going to the Big Two is just a waste of time. However, you completed the twice honing in a very short time. Then I suggest you go to the Big Two. It'll be better that way." It really did not matter where the weak went, especially the students around 130 calories. They might as well go to Nanjiang Martial Arts University, where they would be more valued. However, Fong Ping's vitality was above 180 calories. He would become a rank 1 martial artist very soon. Rank 2 and rank 3 were not too far away. In normal martial arts universities, rank 3 was already the limit. There would be one in the middle ranks after a few years. That was why normal martial arts universities would not aim to teach middle-ranked martial artists. In the Big Two, there would be some middle-ranked graduates every year. Wang Jinyang saw that he was deep in thought. He thought for a while and said, "Of course, I have to remind you that it's more dangerous. There are more missions in the Big Two, which means that the chances of a life-and-death battle are higher. In the metropolis, some bandits don't commit crimes, but if they dare to stay in the metropolis after committing crimes, you can imagine that they're not weak." As he said that, Wang Jinyang added in his heart, "Magic City and Capital City are one of the biggest catacombs. The catacombs are the riskiest. Those who were not rank 3 were not qualified to know about the catacombs." Wang Jinyang did not mention it to Fong Ping. As the gateway to the catacombs, once Magic City and Capital City students reached rank 3, they would be exposed to more catacombs missions. unlike Nanjiang, which was not the entrance to the catacombs. Nanjiang students rarely participated in catacombs matters. Last time, the earthquake in Tianan province was obvious. The local authorities could not suppress it, so they asked for help. Magic City and Capital City rarely asked for outside help. It was usually handled by the local organizations. When there was a strange movement in the Magic City catacombs, more than 20 grandmasters were mobilized. It was obvious how dangerous it was. If Fang Ping had not achieved rank 3 in school, everything would be fine. Once he achieved rank 3, he would be qualified to participate and the danger would increase. You choose for yourself. I can't give you more advice on this. After all, it's your choice. However, I still want to fight for Nanjiang Martial Arts University. With your current conditions, I can help you fight for free resources for those below rank 3. As the president of Nanjiang Martial Arts Society, Wang Jinyang finally made his offer. For those below rank 3, if a prospective martial artist broke through rank 1, a rank 1 to rank 2, and a rank 2 to rank 3, they would all be provided with free resources. After breaking through rank 3, the normal resources would be restored. This treatment was not bad. In reality, this was Wang Jinyang's offer, not the school. Nanjiang Martial Arts University would not make such a big offer. A martial artist's breakthrough to rank 3 would require at least 10 million in resources. For a prospective martial artist, investing more than 10 million in one go was not worth it for normal martial arts universities. Old Wang was in charge of the Martial Arts Society. The Martial Arts Society could participate in the school's resource allocation. This was the back door he had opened for Fang Ping. This time, Fang Ping was really at a loss. If Old Wang did not say the last sentence, he would not be at a loss. However, he did. When Fang Ping thought about giving up 10 million in resources if he went to the Big Two, his heart ached terribly. Fang Ping's expression was complicated. After a long time, he said weakly, "If I go to the Big Two, will the province reward me with a few million as encouragement for the province's outstanding talents?" Haha. Chapter 78. Lao Wang smiled but did not answer. His answer was obviously no. Fang Ping pondered for a moment before asking his last question. "Brother Wang, you said that all resources below rank 3 will be provided. Can you provide them all at once?" "Impossible." Wang Jinyang shook his head and said, "Although it's for all, there's still a limit. It was impossible to get as many resources as you wanted. You could only supply resources according to the requirements of ordinary martial artists. In addition, if you are unable to break through in a realm and are unable to advance for a long time, this treatment may be cancelled." Fang Ping heaved a sigh of relief. Wang Jinyang chuckled. "You have a choice now." Something like that. Fang Ping sighed softly. "If Nanjiang Martial Arts University is willing to provide me with resources worth tens of millions in one go, then needless to say, I will choose Nanjiang Martial Arts University." What Fang Ping lacked was the accumulation in the early stages. In the later stages, when he had the strength and time, these would not be a problem. If Nanjiang Martial Arts University provided him with so many resources at once, his wealth would exceed 10 million, and he would have accumulated a large number of pills. In that case, there was no need for him to strive for anything in the early stages. He could just slowly grind his way up to rank 3. After rank 3, Fang Ping did not think that he would be the same as he was now. However, Nanjiang Martial Arts University could only supply them in batches. This was not in line with Fang Ping's original intentions. Since that was the case, 2 was naturally the better choice. Fang Ping actually felt that it was a pity. Old Wang had a lot of say in Nanjiang Martial Arts University. With Old Wang looking after him, it could save him a lot of trouble. Moreover, most of Wu Zhihao and the others would be applying to Nanjiang Martial Arts University too. It would be livelier with more acquaintances. However, Fang Ping was tempted by the 2 major advantages. Fang Ping's dream of becoming a middleman had not been shattered. He might not have the chance to do this at Nanjiang Martial Arts University, but he might have a chance at the Big Two. As soon as Fang Ping said that, Wang Jinyang knew his choice. In fact, the fact that Wang Jinyang was able to point out the two advantages fairly also represented Wang Jinyang's own preference. The Big Two were more suitable for Fang Ping. The condition he offered was just to leave behind a promising talent for Nanjiang's local martial arts world. Now that Fang Ping had made his choice, Wang Jinyang did not try to persuade him otherwise. The path of martial arts depended on oneself. Sorcery or imperial capital. Let's go to Sorcery City. The business atmosphere is more important, while the political atmosphere in imperial capital is more important. Wang Jinyang nodded slightly. Magic City Martial Arts University is a good choice. The environment is fairer than Imperial City. Fang Ping was slightly puzzled. Wang Jinyang chuckled. To put it simply, there are more martial arts families and official families in Imperial City. There are more powerhouses there. Many of Capital City Martial Arts University instructors come from these families. Shanghai was different. It welcomed all kinds of people. For small fry like us in Shanghai, there are some things that we can rely on our own hard work to achieve. In the imperial capital, there were many things that could be done with simple effort. A strong business atmosphere also means that there are more experts in business. Experts in business are generally easier to talk to. Fang Ping really wanted to say that he really did not know. However, when he thought about the ways of businessmen, perhaps it was just as Wang Jinyang had said, they would be easier to communicate with. Moreover, Magic City's strong business atmosphere meant that Fang Ping could do more. Seeing that Wang Jinyang was not displeased, Fang Ping breathed a sigh of relief and said apologetically, "Brother Wang, I didn't choose enemy you. I'm fine." Wang Jinyang didn't mind. He smiled and said, "It's normal for water to flow to higher places. If it were me, I would have also chosen the two big ones if I had met the two big ones. However, since you've chosen this path, then show some results. Don't embarrass me. As for me, I can be considered half a martial arts mentor to you. If you embarrass yourself, I'll embarrass myself too. Of course, in Magic City Martial Arts University, there's no need to mention me," Old Wang reminded him without batting an eyelid. At the beginning of this year, a certain someone had gone to Magic City Martial Arts University for a one-day trip. Old Wang did not bother with the juniors and seniors. The freshmen and sophomores, those below rank 2, were practically all defeated. It was not that Magic City Martial Arts University did not have rank 2 martial artists among the freshmen and sophomores. They even had rank 3 martial artists. However, Old Wang was only peak rank 1 back then. When normal martial arts university students came knocking, who would have the nerve to fight? After all, this was one of the 2 top martial arts institutions in Sino Nation. They all thought that any peak rank 1 martial artist would be enough to teach this guy a lesson. Naturally, the result was a tragedy. There was even a thrice-honed rank 1 martial artist who fought, but he was beaten until he doubted his life. In the end, it was still a rank 2 martial artist who fought and beat someone up. However, this time, Magic City Martial Arts University had lost a lot of face. Now, these people were all sophomores and juniors. Seniors rarely stayed on campus. These students were the mainstream of martial arts universities. Wang Jinyang was afraid that Fang Ping would cry if Fang Ping mentioned Old Wang. Of course, Wang Jinyang also thought that Fang Ping would not mention him. In his opinion, Fang Ping would not have much to do with Nanjiang after going to Magic City Martial Arts University. Wang Jinyang thought this way, but he did not know that Fang Ping had already used his tiger skin a few times. Going to Magic City might not bring up Wang Jinyang, but if there was, Fang Ping would not let it go. Fang Ping had made his choice. The purpose of this meeting was achieved. Before Wang Jinyang left, he thought for a while and said, "Cultivate well when you go to Magic City. Maybe we'll meet again soon." Fang Ping asked suspiciously, You're going to Magic City to carry out a mission? Maybe. Wang Jinyang smiled but did not say anything else. Going to Shanghai, or the imperial capital to gain experience, was something that many martial artists would do. However, as the president of Nanjiang Martial Arts Society and the representative of Nanjiang's martial arts students, if he went to Magic City, it would not just be a simple sightseeing. Governor General Zhang had broken through to rank 7 and wanted to revitalize Nanjiang's martial arts. Nanjiang would do a lot of things after this. As the president of the Martial Arts Society, Wang Jinyang would definitely be involved. Of course, Fang Ping was not qualified to participate in this at this time. Wang Jinyang left, and he left decisively. Fang Ping did not know if his choice was right or wrong, but going to Magic City Martial Arts University was a choice he had made after weighing the pros and cons. He could actually feel that Wang Jinyang still wanted him to go to Nanjiang Martial Arts University. Of course, old Wang did not say it out loud. He had made the conditions on behalf of the school and did not express his personal opinion. If old Wang really said that he wanted Fang Ping to go to Nanjiang Martial Arts University, even if Fang Ping hesitated, he would probably choose to stay. Just as Wang Jinyang said, he was half a mentor to Fang Ping. In Fang Ping's eyes, Wang Jinyang was more than half a mentor. His martial arts enlightenment was single-handedly taught by this rank 3 prodigy martial artist. Combat techniques, pole standing, and honing methods. These 3 were the entirety of his martial arts enlightenment, and all of them came from Wang Jinyang. Outside the gym, Nini listened to their conversation. Now that they had left the gym, the young lady could not help but ask in a low voice, "Why don't you let him go to NMAU?" Wang Jinyang held her hand, smiling as they walked. "Why do you want him to go? Didn't you say you wanted to look for my dad? He's improved so fast he can help you. This kind of thing can't be forced." Wang Jinyang shook his head and said softly, "He has his path and I have mine. I'll look for the instructor. When the time is right, I'll find some helpers too. But that doesn't mean I'll force anyone to accept it. What I need are like-minded comrades, not martial arts prodigies who are unwilling to accept it. Moreover, the current hymn is still too weak." Having said that, Wang Jinyang lowered his head to look at Nini and said gently, "Don't worry, I'll definitely find the instructor." My dad, is he?" The little girl's eyes were a little red. Just because she was young did not mean she was stupid, nor did it mean she knew nothing. Her father had gone to Tiannan to carry out a mission. The students he had brought along had all returned, and so had the uncles who had gone with him. However, her father had not returned. Her uncles said that her father had simply gone missing. Her father's students said the same thing, and her mother had told her the same thing. However, could he really come back after going missing like that? The student her father was most proud of, the young man before her, had told her that he would definitely find her father. However, Nini knew that he was just comforting her. Her father, a rank 5, had gone missing. Could a rank 3 senior do it? When Nanjiang Martial Arts University's vice-chancellor, her amiable grandfather, had visited her and her mother at home, Nini had begged him to find her father. However, her amiable grandfather had brushed her off this time. Yes, brushed her off. The little girl was not stupid. Born into a family like this, with a rank 5 father, the things she had experienced and the world she had seen were far beyond Fang Ping's. Whether he was speaking the truth or not, she could feel it. When she found out that Fang Ping had completed twice honing in 2 months and was even more talented than her senior, the little girl had actually hoped that her senior would ask him to keep him. She could see that the big brother just now trusted her senior. If her senior had asked, he could have kept him at Nanjiang Martial Arts University. It would not take long for him to break through to rank 3, or even rank, for it was a pity that her senior did not do so. Wang Jinyang murmured, "Don't worry. Teacher will be fine. I just can't find him for now. When I break through to rank 4, I will look for him. If rank 4 isn't enough, then rank 5. If rank 5 was not enough, then Grandmaster." However, he could not say this. Grandmaster was too difficult. If he said it now, it would not help. Instead, it would make Nini feel even more hopeless. Only Grandmaster had hope? How long would that take? At that time, would he really be able to survive? Actually, most people had already made this judgment when Zhang Qingnan was trapped in the catacombs. Saying that he was missing was just to comfort a young girl. Fang Ping did not know about Wang Jinyan and Nini's conversation. He did not know about Zhang Qingnan either. He also did not know that the instructor with long limbs in the combat techniques video that he had cultivated was Zhang Qingnan. Since he had made his choice, Fang Ping did not think about Nanjiang's reward anymore. Every time he thought about it, about the wads of cash slipping away from his hands, Fang Ping still could not hide the pain in his heart. I hope Magic City Martial Arts University won't disappoint me, Fang Ping murmured. Then he calculated the current wealth in his hands. It was time to make a detailed plan during the holidays. After confirming where he would go to school, he should also think about how to not spend his money when he went to Magic City. The pills, cash, and wealth he had on hand might not last long. P.S. There are actually people fighting over the school they chose. How desperate! Would I put the first and second male students in the same school? Wouldn't that be stealing my limelight? Chapter 79. June 18th. Fill in the application form. It was only then that Fang Ping found out about Yang Jian and the others' results. Yang Jian did quite well in his cultural studies, but he did not reach the minimum standard of 605 points. He scored 597 points. This result was considered pretty good compared to Yang Jian's usual results. He was 8 points short, and his vitality was barely up to the mark. Nanjiang Martial Arts University's Yang Jian could not fill in the form. It was the same for Lu Ruoqi. She did quite well in the cultural class, scoring 653 points higher than Wu Zhihao by 8 points. Like Yang Jian, he was unable to enroll in Nanjiang's local martial arts university. Originally, the two of them would have been extremely disappointed in such a situation where they were just a little bit away from reaching the goal. However, when Fang Ping arrived at school, he did not see any disappointment on their faces. Instead, they were in a good mood. Without waiting for Fang Ping to ask, Yang Jian explained excitedly, "When the results came out and I saw Nanjiang Martial Arts University's admission standards, I lost all hope. The difference of 8 points was simply asking for his life. I'm not even prepared to look at other schools because Nanjiang Martial Arts University used to have the lowest requirements when recruiting students in Nanjiang province. But then Ruoqi called me." Lu Ruoqi took the initiative to answer. She usually did not show any emotions on her face, but at that moment she also smiled. "I called Yang Jian because I saw Tiannan Martial Arts University's recruitment notice. Tiannan Martial Arts University's enrollment this year was slightly lower than other schools. He could sign up as long as his vitality reached 115 calories, and he scored 595 marks in his cultural studies. I've just reached 115 calories, and my cultural studies grades are pretty good. If I apply to Tiannan Martial Arts University, I have a high chance of being accepted." Lu Ruoqi really couldn't stay calm at this time. As she spoke, she revealed a bright smile. This girl was not ugly. She trained all year round and had a good figure. When she smiled, the men beside her couldn't help but stare at her. When Lu Ruoqi sensed that the people around her had quietened down, she glanced at them and said, "That's enough!" Wu Zhihao retracted his gaze and sighed. "You look good when you smile. If I had known it would be like this, I would have made the first move." Great, now those bastards from Tiannan Martial Arts University have it easy. There were not many girls in martial arts universities. Even if there were, most of them were average-looking. A girl who was really good at both the pen and the sword, and was also good-looking. This kind of resource was too hard to come by. In the past, Lu Ruoqi was a quiet person. It wasn't that no one had thought of hitting on her, but when they saw her personality, they all gave up. Who knew that now that the pressure in his heart was gone, the other party's personality had changed quite a bit. Unfortunately, everyone had graduated and immediately went their separate ways. It was not easy to have a long-distance relationship. As soon as Wu Zhihao finished speaking, Yang Jian smiled sheepishly and said, "I've also signed up for Tiannan Martial Arts University. Although my cultural studies are a little worse, only 2 marks higher, my vitality is higher by 1 calorie, so my chances are high too. I'll go to Tiannan Martial Arts University to take care of Ruoqi." MMP. Everyone present cursed in their hearts. They had forgotten about this matter. Lu Ruoqi did not know whether to laugh or cry. She did not respond to Yang Jian's words. They were in a good mood, and Fang Ping was happy for them. Unexpectedly at this moment, someone beside him frowned slightly and hesitated before saying, "Ruoqi Yang Jian, Tiannan Martial Arts University." The one who spoke was the boy who said that a martial arts university student from his maternal grandfather's house had died on the day the Gaokao ended. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, the boy thought for a moment and said, "I've also seen Tiannan Martial Arts University's enrollment expansion." "You've seen the expansion, but you probably haven't seen any other news." "What?" Yang Jian asked hurriedly. He was only focused on laughing foolishly. Where would he have the time to see anything else? Tiannan Martial Arts University's enrollment expansion this time and lowered their standards is said to be because of the earthquake from before. Tiannan Martial Arts University organized student rescue teams. In the end, many students lost their lives in the earthquake. This is not the first time Tiannan Martial Arts University has expanded their enrollment. Because of what happened before, I'm more concerned about these things. I often pay attention to the news of students dying in martial arts universities around the country. Tiannan Martial Arts University is very dangerous. Every year, students die. 5 years ago, Tiannan Martial Arts University also expanded their enrollment, once because too many students died. It's the same this year. As the boy spoke, he lowered his voice and said, "I suspect that it's not just because of the training. There must be other risks that lead to such a high mortality rate." In short, Tiannan Martial Arts University is much more dangerous than Nanjiang Martial Arts University. Other than Tiannan Martial Arts University, a few other martial arts universities are the same. The mortality rate is very high. As soon as these words were said, the previously lively atmosphere quieted down in an instant. There were some things that people did not pay attention to. After all, these schools were too far away from them. Before this, everyone's attention was always on Nanjiang Martial Arts University. Furthermore, these news would not be announced through official announcements. They would only be spread through some small channels on the internet. Unless they were especially interested in this, most people would not pay attention to these things. This student called Lu Tao also paid attention to these news because something had happened to the people around him. Now that he knew that Lu Ruoqi and Yang Jian were applying for Tiannan Martial Arts University, although Lu Tao was a little hesitant, he still told them the news. "Lu Tao, what other risks are you talking about?" Wu Zhihao asked hurriedly. He had a good relationship with a few martial science students in his class. Now that Lu Ruoqi and Yang Jian had both applied to Tiannan Martial Arts University, if it was really too dangerous, then they had to think carefully. Lu Tao shook his head and said, "I'm just guessing. I don't really know if there are other situations. But in recent years, many students from Tiannan Martial Arts University have died." Ruoqi Yang Jian. Before Wu Zhihao could finish, Lu Ruoqi suddenly said, "Don't try to persuade me. It's not easy for martial arts universities to expand their enrollment. I won't give up no matter how dangerous it is. Moreover, martial artists must fight. I can't just watch this opportunity disappear right in front of my eyes." Yang Jian, who was used to playing dumb, was now serious for once. He said in a low voice, "Ruoqi's right. The opportunity is right in front of us. If we don't seize it, we'll regret it for the rest of our lives." Fang Ping did not try to persuade him, but he had some other thoughts in mind. Was the high death rate in Tiananmen Martial Arts University because the missions were difficult, or because the students were weak? Or were there lunatics like the ones who had attacked him before? When he was at the Department of Investigation Services in Auspicious Sun, he had heard from the people there that the base of those lunatics was not in Nanjiang but somewhere else. If their base was in Tiananmen, then the high death rate could be explained. The other martial arts universities with high death rates that Lu Tao mentioned might be in the same situation. According to Wang Jinyang, the Big Two were actually very dangerous. It was only because the students of the Big Two were strong, and so were the instructors and school leaders. Even if there were some dangers, they might be ignored or resolved. Lu Tao did not mention the Big Two. He did not know if the news was blocked, or if the death rate of the Big Two was not as high as the other martial arts universities. Seeing that the others had stopped talking, Fong Ping smiled and said, "Danger is everywhere, so don't worry too much. As long as you're strong enough, you can resolve any danger you encounter. So, what we need to do is to keep improving ourselves so that we're strong enough to deal with these dangers." Lu Ruoqi and Yang Jian finally had a chance. How could they give it up? If it were Fong Ping, he would also grab at the last straw. He would not give up even if he saw someone die, let alone just hearing about it. Lu Tao did not say anything after hearing that. After all, these were only his guesses. Among the martial sciences candidates, Fong Ping's first choice was Magic City Martial Arts University, and his second choice was Nanjiang Martial Arts University. Because of Wang Jinyang's reminder, Wu Zhihao applied for Nanjiang Martial Arts University, and his second choice was a normal martial arts university in Magic City. Lu Ruoqi and Yang Jian applied for Tiananmen Martial Arts University, and their second choice was a liberal arts university. The others did not meet the requirements, so they applied for liberal arts universities. Fong Ping's desk mate, Qin Fan, did well this time. He scored 632 points higher than Fong Ping by 5 points. His first choice was East Sino-Nation Normal University, and his second choice was Nanjiang University. Both universities had martial sciences faculties. East Sino-Nation Normal University was also located in Magic City. Many students preferred universities in Magic City and Capital City. Lu Ongua, the homeroom teacher, was all smiles when he filled in his choice. He was in a normal class, but his results this year were shockingly good. Even he himself was shocked. Fong Ping applied for Magic City Martial Arts University, one of the top 2 martial arts institutions in Sino-Nation. Wu Zhihao applied for Nanjiang Martial Arts University, and the other 2 applied for Tiananmen Martial Arts University. If they were all accepted, there would be 4 of them going to martial arts universities in one go. After all, there were only 5 martial arts university students in Sun City No. 1 high school last year. This year, however, class 4, a normal class, might have 4 of them, and one of them was from the Big Two. How could Lu Ongua not be happy? The most famous student in No. 1 high school, Zhou Bin, had no chance of getting into the Big Two because his vitality had not reached 130 calories, so he could only apply for other martial arts universities. Class 1. S results were not as good as Class 4. S Class 2 was still okay. Because of the Tan brothers, there were a few who could go to martial arts universities. If No. 1 high school was lucky this year, there might be about 10 students who would go to martial arts universities. There might even be more than 10. Because of Tiananmen Martial Arts University's enrollment expansion, many students who did not meet the requirements applied for Tiananmen Martial Arts University. If the acceptance rate was higher, there might be 12 or 13 students. This would have been unimaginable in previous years. After filling in the choice, they could only wait for the notification. Now, however, they were very efficient. The results would usually be out by the end of June. Everyone had a wild party last time, so there was no need for a gathering this time. They agreed to exchange the news when the acceptance letter was out, and everyone went their separate ways. End of June. Fong Ping received the acceptance letter from Magic City Martial Arts University. Although he was a few points behind in general studies, his vitality was as high as 149 calories during the test, so Fang Ping was accepted. At the same time, Wu Zhihao and the others also had their own results. Wu Zhihao, the Tan brothers Zhou Bin and Qin Jia all applied for Nanjiang Martial Arts University. Lu Ruoqi, Yang Jian, and 3 other students from other classes were accepted by Tiannan Martial Arts University. This time, Tiannan Martial Arts University accepted a lot of students, which was beyond Fang Ping's expectations. A total of 11 students from Sun City No. 1 High School were accepted into martial arts universities. The whole of Sun City was in an uproar. Other than Sun City No. 1 High School, there were also students from other schools who were accepted into martial arts universities. Among them, Nanjiang Martial Arts University and Tiannan Martial Arts University had the most students, with a total of 8. In Sun City, a total of 19 students were accepted into martial arts universities in year 08. This was the highest number ever. Among them, Tiannan Martial Arts University alone had accepted 8 people from Sun City. Otherwise, there would not be so many. Based on this ratio, Tiannan Martial Arts University had accepted about 300 people from Nanjiang Province. There might be more nationwide, which surprised many people. When Fang Ping found out about this, he could not help but wonder if they were recruiting cannon fodder. Did Tiannan Martial Arts University have the resources to cultivate so many students at once? Or could it be that the number of students who died in the earthquake was higher than what Lu Tao had said? If there were not so many deaths, how could they have recruited so many people? Fang Ping was puzzled. He secretly remembered the name Tiannan Martial Arts University in his heart. After all, Lu Ruoqi and Yang Jian had been accepted. Chapter 80. Since the new book is on the shelves, I'll say a few words as per usual. Old Eagle is very miserable, very miserable. Recently, his whole body has been uncomfortable, and his head feels like it's going to split open. Toothache, headache, eye pain, uncles, aunties, big brothers, big sisters, little brothers, and little sisters. Please subscribe or else I'll die. End of acting miserable. But my body really isn't feeling too well. Maybe it's because of my old age and the hot weather. Tomorrow at noon, I'll go on the shelves at least 3 chapters. I'll do my best. We're good at keeping up the pace. We should be able to keep updating, not procrastinating and only updating. If a brother asks about adding chapters, I'll add 3 chapters for the alliance leader and 1 chapter for the sect leader. That's it for now. Friendly reminder, I might owe you for now, but I'll definitely pay you back. My body really isn't that good. I didn't act miserable this time, yet that's all. I hope that everyone can support me tomorrow. Those who have monthly votes, please vote. Chapter 81. Since Fang Ping had decided to go to Magic City earlier, the wedding banquet for the Gaokao was scheduled earlier on the 6th. The 5th of July, Sun City Bus Station. Auntie, Uncle. Fang Ping waved at Li Yuqin's family, who had just gotten off the bus. The Fang family's social structure was simple. His father was an only child, but he was not really an only child. Fang Ping had heard from his father that he had an older sister, but she died of illness when she was young. Fang Ping's grandparents did not have any more children. His mother only had 2 siblings. Li Yueying was the older sister, and Li Yuqin was the younger sister. The Li family was also Sun City locals, but Fang Ping's aunt had married into a neighboring city. His uncle's family was average, and everyone was busy making a living. Even if transportation was good, they would not see each other more than a few times a year. This time his aunt's family had come, because her nephew had gotten into a martial arts university, and it was Magic City Martial Arts University. This was even more joyous than a wedding. Li Yuqin had taken 3 days off to come one day early to help. Fang Ping waved his hand. Before Li Yuqin could respond, 2 teenagers shouted, "Brother Ping, Sister Yuan." Fang Ping felt bad when he heard them call him that. Brother Ping was acceptable, Brother Fang was acceptable, and cousin was also acceptable. But they had to call him Brother Ping, which made Fong Ping's heart clench. The ones who called him Brother Ping Ping were none other than his aunt's two children. The girl was Lu Win, 1 year younger than Fong Yuan. She was 13 this year and had just finished her first year of junior high. The boy was Lu Wu, 12 years old, and would be entering junior high in the second half of the year. Although they did not see each other often, Fong Ping was the eldest in the family. Although he did not have much money in the past, he was not stingy with his money every time the two kids came over. He would buy food for them whenever he had some pocket money. They did not have many relatives, so their relationship was better. The siblings liked to pester Fong Ping every time they came. Of course, they liked it, but Fong Yuan did not. The two of them tried to steal her brother every time they came. The three of them were about the same age, so it was normal for them to fight. The two children were all smiles as they ran toward Fong Ping. Fong Ping hurried forward, while Fong Yuan followed behind him lazily. She seemed to be in low spirits. As soon as everyone met, Lu Win and Lu Wu started chattering. Fong Ping smiled and nodded in response. Then he said to Fong Yuan, "You play with Wen Wen and little Wu. I'll talk to auntie and uncle." Fong Yuan puffed up her cheeks. Even though she was a little unwilling, she still had to be polite since her aunt and her family were here as guests. The little girl reluctantly moved closer to her cousins and spoke before they could speak. "You're not allowed to call me sister. Yuan Yuan." Lu Wu had a confused look on his face as he asked, "Why? Your sister Yuan Yuan? Anyway, you're not allowed to call me that. Otherwise, you can call me big sister. But that's how I call my sister. If I call you, won't it be messy?" Lu Wu looked like a tiger, but his logic was clear. If both of them called her sister, wouldn't it be a mess? Fong Yuan was speechless. She said in frustration, "Forget it. Just call me whatever you want." "Yeah, I knew it. Sister Yuan Yuan, your face seems to have become rounder again." Before Lu Wu could finish, Fong Yuan covered his mouth and said angrily, "Don't say it." Sob, really? Lu Wen had entered junior high after all. Girls matured faster, so she knew what Fong Yuan meant. Still, she grinned and said, "Yes, I've become rounder. Sister Yuan Yuan, should we call me Sister Yuan Yuan next time?" "Lu Wen, I'm going to beat you up." Fong Yuan chased after Lu Wen angrily. Fong Ping's uncle, Lu Anhua, was all smiles when he saw the three kids playing around. Yuan Yuan, Wen Wen, and little Wu are still as close as ever. They haven't seen each other for a while, but they're so friendly the moment they see each other. Clearly, in the eyes of the adults, the kids playing around was a sign that they were close. Fong Yuan did not hear that, or she would have died of grievance. Who would be close to these two rascals? Especially Lu Wen. Fong Yuan had long wanted to beat her until her face bloomed. Fong Ping could guess what Fong Yuan was thinking. He wanted to laugh, but he nodded anyway. "It's not bad. They're about the same age, after all." As he spoke, Fong Ping quickly took the bags from his uncle and said, "Uncle Auntie, I told you not to buy anything. Why did you bring so many things?" "My dad has quit smoking. It's a waste to buy them." "What do you know, kid?" Liu Qin interrupted him rudely. "Your mom can really do it. She didn't even tell me that she's buying a house. She only said that she's buying a house when I'm coming." "What's wrong? Your aunt can't even afford a red packet?" "Those are two different things. Buying a house is buying a house, and going to university is going to university. She's my only sister. If I'd known that she'd buy a house, I would have come the last time." Liu Qin was not even 40 years old, but her words were quite fierce and tough. Fong Ping did not mind. His aunt had always been like that. He smiled when he heard that. "How could I not inform you when there's a happy occasion at home? Isn't this a reward from the city when I got into a martial arts university? They just happened to be together. I knew you'd have a bright future, Ping Ping." Liu Qin's face was full of confidence. She had said before that Fong Ping had a bright future and was destined to become a high-ranking official. Fong Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. He did not want to hurt his aunt's feelings either. That was what she had said in his past life. In the end, he did not have a secure job even when he was 30 years old. Lu Anhua, who was standing beside him, smiled. Ping Ping has had a bright future since he was young. He knew that you got into a martial arts university, and the best one at that. When your aunt said that at the front door, the whole neighborhood was in an uproar. Now, when your aunt goes out, she raises her head higher than before. What nonsense are you talking about? Li Yuqin was displeased. Don't talk about me. Aren't you the same? When I passed by your factory, your manager saw me and kept asking me if my nephew got into a martial arts university. He was so attentive. If you didn't say it, how would your manager know? Lu Anhua was a little embarrassed. He laughed dryly and did not reply. Fong Ping laughed and quickly changed the topic. Aunt, uncle, let's go home first. We'll talk when we get there. All right, when? Stop pestering your sister, Yuen. Let's go. Lu Wen, who was not far away, was about to cry. Who was pestering Round Face? It was Round Face who did not want to give up. He wanted to chase after her and beat her up. What was with her mother's gaze? Putting aside the grudges between the kids, the bus stop was not too far from Scenic Lake Gardens. They walked and chatted and arrived at Scenic Lake Gardens in about 10 minutes. Fong Mingrong did not take the day off, so he was not at home. Li Yueying, on the other hand, was at home preparing lunch. When she saw her sister and brother-in-law enter, she quickly greeted them. Then she took out all the snacks she had confiscated from Fong Yuan and fed them to the kids. Fong Yuan's face turned green. Those are all mine. She had worked so hard to sell Fong Ping's autograph and earn some money, but now it was all going to benefit these two brats. Fong Ping's mother accompanied her aunt to look at the house while Fong Ping sat downstairs and watched the show. Fong Yuan's expression was extremely rich. One moment her heart ached. The next, she remembered that these two brats were younger than her. She did not care if they ate. Besides, she did not know why, but she had lost her appetite since last night. However, when she remembered that she had bought them with her hard-earned money, she felt a little reluctant to give up. Seeing that Lu Wen and Lu Wu were eating happily, she wanted to eat some too. However, after chewing a few times, she did not want to swallow a chip. Tears welled up in Fong Yuan's eyes. Why is it like this? I obviously like to eat this kind of food the most. Fong Ping admired his sister's rich expression. He could not help but want to laugh, so he quickly went upstairs to look for his mother. Upstairs, Li Yuqin was sighing. When she saw Fong Ping come upstairs, she smiled brightly. Ping Ping has really made it big. He's only 18 years old, but he's already earned such a big house for his family. I heard that you went to Magic City Martial Arts University. Once you graduate and enter the government, you'll at least be a county director. Lu Anping immediately retorted, That's only for normal martial arts universities. Magic City Martial Arts University is the best university. He'll at least be a deputy commander. Really? Li Yuqin was not angry that her husband had refuted her. Instead, she was pleasantly surprised. I heard it from our manager. Lu Anhua did not know whether it was true or not, so he said it with a lack of confidence. Li Yueying, who was beside them, was also overjoyed. She quickly said, Anything is fine. Let Ping Ping teach Little Wu in the future. Little Wu can also apply for a martial arts university. I think he's very strong. He'll definitely have no problem getting into a martial arts university. Sis, remember what you said. Li Yuqin said happily, Let Ping Ping teach Little Wu. This child worships Ping Ping. The two sisters started chatting again. Fong Ping had no choice but to accompany his uncle. When it was time for lunch, Fong Ping could not hold it in anymore. He laughed until his stomach hurt. Fong Yuan stared at the table full of dishes. She had no appetite. Her mother, who was upstairs, did not know what was going on. She scolded, You can't eat too many snacks. I only took them out because Wenwen and Little Wu were here. Give in to your siblings. Let them eat. You eat less. Fang Yuan felt wronged. I only ate one chip, okay? Mom, you can't bully me like that. When Fang Ping could not even hold his bowl anymore, Fang Yuan finally realized what was going on. She said pitifully, Fang Ping, did you do this? Mom, Fang Ping is bullying me. I already said that he must be the one who hit my hunger acupoint. You still don't believe me. The adults did not believe her, but Lu Wu did not see his cousin eating snacks just now. His eyes lit up. He said hurriedly, Sister Yuan Yuan, what's the hunger acupoint? Can you skip eating just because you ordered it? Can you order it for my sister? She's always stealing my food. Lu Wu, shut up! Lu Wen scolded. She looked at Fang Ping fearfully. She was afraid that her cousin would hit her hunger acupoint. Fang Yuan did not steal their snacks this time. It was as if she was a completely different person. If her acupoint was hit by her cousin, she would end up like Fang Yuan. It would be too tragic. The little fellows all believed it, but Li Yueying obviously did not believe it. Li Yuqin was skeptical, but when she saw her nephew shake his head, she did not believe him anymore. Now, everyone was convinced that Fang Yuan had lost her appetite because she had eaten too many snacks. Fang Yuan, on the other hand, looked at the table full of dishes in despair. She glared at Fang Ping indignantly. It was fine if it happened once, but it happened twice.